What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto summons Big Frog? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. Naruto was having no luck summoning toads. He had been trying his hardest for 3 grueling weeks. At least he had made it out of the tadpole stage, mostly, they still appeared with little tails. To top that off, Pervy Sage was anything except help. Just sitting around gawking at half-naked women while poor Naruto was pouring his heart and soul into getting a true tailless toad. He practically had to beg the lecher to teach him a trick. The old man made it sound like he had to put his life on the line to do this trick, but what were ninja if they weren't willing to go that far every day? Training should be no different. First thing he got dragged into was taking a bath. It wasn't the worst training Naruto ever had, but what teenage boy enjoys a bath unless there is an opportunity to sneak a peek at the girl of your dreams? He was beginning to question his teacher's methods already, but he desperately wanted to learn this so-called trick. Next they go for food and Pervy Sage tells him to eat up. Being a growing boy, that's exactly what he does. Then that cheapskate skips out on paying for the meal. What kind of cheap man was he not paying for the boy's food? Naruto was about fed up with the whole situation and wasn't sure if this trick was even worth his time. He felt like the white-haired jerk was just yanking him around. All his thoughts of revenge on the old man flew out the door when the old pervert asked if Naruto had a lovely girl. Then proceeded to tell him to go and hug her of all things. Of course there was a girl. Now, he was nervous. The girl he loved, Sakura, was known for her explosive temper. He was sure she was going to smash his face in for attempting such an invasion of her personal space, but it was for training, so he would man up and hug her. Maybe this was the putting the life on the line part that the old man was talking about. He cornered her in an ally way, but he didn't know how to approach the subject of a simple hug with the girl. "Naruto, what do you want?" she asked, losing her patience with the boy as he mumbled away. "I won't lend you money if that's what you're looking for." "It's nothing like that." Naruto smiled, trying to keep the nervousness out of his voice but failing like he did at summoning toads. "Well, there doesn't seem to be anything I can help you with, so I am leaving," the pinkhead announced as she got up from the wall she was leaning on. "Hold on," Naruto yelled, panicking about not completing his training. He grabbed her shoulder and spun her around. It looked like she was about to lose her balance and fall into his arms. That would be his chance to wrap his arms around her and embrace her like he had always wanted to. She got her footing faster than he expected her to. She was a ninja after all. "What the hell, Naruto?" she snarled as her fist lashed out and connected with his face. It left him with a nice-sized bruised cheek and a fat lip. The female member of Team 7 was pissed. He dragged her to a deserted ally to cop a feel. The world was full of perverts and the biggest one was on her team. She stomped off mad, but she got to thinking about it. A punch to the face was a good punishment, but forcing yourself on a girl was worth a better ass beating than that. Her temper hadn't cooled, and so she turned around and headed back to where she left the injured boy. She found him walking with an old man. Hearing Naruto call him Pervy Sage set the young girl's mind working overtime. To her, Naruto was a typical boy. He was always wanting to prove himself on missions and seemed to have a strange relationship with the other member of their team, but he wasn't a bad person. He would point out perverts with the best of them. If he was now taking lessons from the old man on how to be a bigger pervert, she needed to put a stop to it now. They were heading out of the village, so she followed them. She told herself it was to catch them in the act of being lecherous and punish them on the spot, but her curiosity was really getting the better of her. Naruto had just got his face rearranged by the girl he loved. He had better get a damn frog out of this or there was going to be some hell to pay. So, he called the old man out on it. "There is no doubt about it, you'll get one," replied Pervy Sage as he turned to the boy. "Anything left undone?" Naruto just looked at the man like he was speaking gibberish. Next thing Sakura sees from her tailing them is the old pervert knock out her teammate with one hit to the gut. She was going to have to ask him how he did that one day. The old man picked up Naruto's lifeless body and started walking. Now she was conflicted. She had thought of him as a dirty old man teaching the boy bad things, but now he had assaulted her teammate. Two choices waged war in her mind: follow the creep walking off with her teammate or go back and find help for the boy. Following the pair won out over skirting home for help. She calculated her chances in a fight against the pervert and she didn't like the figures she kept coming up with. If he could turn Naruto's lights out with a single punch, she wasn't going to be any better off. The old man rudely dropped the young boy on the ground. Thankfully he got up and started talking with Purvey Sage. The girl felt like they now had a better standing now if it came down to a fight to get Naruto away from him. Or maybe this was part of his SIG training. Naruto awoke not knowing where he was or what his insane teacher was trying to pull now. To top it off, the old man starts going on about his training ending. "What about the trick? Is this some kind of stupid joke?" yelled the rambunctious teen. "Time to die and come back," the toad sage stated in an eerily calm manner compared to his words. "What do you mean die?" Naruto questioned, sounding leery of the man. Purvey Sage went on to explain everything to Naruto in great detail. Bringing forth enormous amounts of chakra to escape death's clutches and to feel it will his own body and to remember those feelings. It was a little over the poor boy's head, but he did his best to listen. He was starting to think the old man just liked to hear the sound of his own voice, but Naruto held on tight to the hope that the trick would be presented soon. Sakura was beginning to not know what to think about the strange couple. She was still prepared to deliver the boy's punishment for trying to grope her. "Maybe I'll get lucky and the pervert will kill him for me," the pinkette snickered to herself. "If you want to live, figure it out," Purvey Sage said as he touched the boy's headband and sent him sailing through the shrubbery. "What the fuck?" screamed out in two teens' minds as Naruto slowed over a massive cliff, then started his downward descent. Shock filled her body. She would have to be more careful about what she wished for. Without thinking she moved. She had to help him. He was her teammate after all. If he was going to die, it was going to be by her hand and not some crazed man sending him off a dangerous cliff. She was at the edge trying to come up with a plan when a firm hand rested on her slender shoulder. "He has to do this on his own. He was given strength. He has to figure out how to use it," commented the deep voice she recognized as the pervert. The young girl sprang away from the creep and readied a weapon. "You just sent my teammate hurtling towards certain death and you tell me I can't help him. What kind of bullshit is that?" she snarled, one hand holding the kunai and the other fishing for her ninja wire. He almost laughed. If he didn't know better, he would think his old teammate was reborn with pink hair the way she growled at him and was ready to fight. Naruto tried to grab the walls, but he was falling too fast and the damn rocks were too slippery. The thought of dying rattled around in his brains as the ground was coming up faster and faster. Then, the rock side and ground were gone. First thing that snapped into his mind was he was now dead. He must be in hell because it was dark, dripping water, and smelled like wet dog. There was also a raspy growl that must belong to some kind of hellhound. He began to explore and felt something familiar on the air. It was that odd red chakra that came out from time to time. In front of him appeared two massive gates. Behind them was sealed a ginormous beast. His fangs were the size of Naruto's body and his eyes glowed with hate. The beast spoke to him, beckoning him closer. The boy took a few hesitant steps. As he drew close, large claws lashed out at him, scaring him back. The beast talked of killing him and eating him. Naruto knew it. He was in hell. "This damn gate won't open. I'm sealed by a stupid spell," the monster growled, disappointed that the object he wished to devour was so close yet still out of grasp. "My hell is the nine-tailed fox?" Naruto asked as his body shook with fear. The feel of this chakra was too intimate to belong to an afterlife realm. This was the cause of his own personal hell in his everyday life. "Why have to come here?" boomed the beast. Naruto focused all his energy into a bluff. He moved his body into a more commanding posture and a glare set on his boyish whiskered face. "Now, you listen here, you stupid fox. You've been a house guest in my body for too long. It's time to start paying your dues. Let me borrow some chakra," Naruto demanded. Laughter filled the dark halls. The beast found his jailer very amusing. "Only because if you die I die, but have impressed me with your bold words." Angry red chakra seeped out from the bottom of the gates and enclosed around the boy, muffling his screams. "Consider this your reward," chuckled the fox. Once again Naruto was plummeting to his sure death with cliffs all around him and the hard ground in his near future if he didn't do something fast. He followed his practiced moves that he had done over and over the past 3 weeks with little success. He used his summoning to call forth a toad. Not only did he call forth a tailless toad, but he managed to bring out one that had to be the size of a building. "Fuck me sideways," Sakura mumbled, looking at the sight before her. The man with the wild white hair blushed hearing such words coming from the tiny figure. He was starting to wonder about this generation of ninja. The odd pair watched as Naruto's toad began to yell about being summoned. Naruto was too busy inspecting the toad to worry about a small thing like its mood. His excitement bubbled over and jumping for joy ensued. The wild boy found that he had not only summoned an honest-to-goodness toad but that he summoned the chief toad. "Alright little miss, it's time for us to go. We don't want to be around when that toad gets up here," the sage warned. In one quick fluid movement he disarmed her and had her slung over his shoulder like a sack of rice. "Put me down, you pervert," she screamed as she kicked and pounded her fists on his back. He moved them to what he considered a safe distance, and started to spy on Naruto and the giant frog. When the toad finally made its way out of the deep cliffs, it did so in one large leap. Naruto was now going up as fast or maybe even faster than he had been going down. With his landing dirt, trees, and rocks flung in every direction from the force that was the great toad. "What the hell, old man?" screamed the girl as she was perched in the tall tree next to the sage. "These things are best observed from a distance," was all the reply she received as he spied through a scope at the boy and toad. "Aren't you supposed to be his teacher or something? Shouldn't you be down there with him actually doing something productive?" she inquired with a nasty tone. Normally she was respectful of her elders, but this man had pissed her off in a way only Naruto was ever able to achieve. "Some things you have to experience for yourself," he countered, still watching the exchange between summoner and summoned. Like near death, shot out of the girl's mouth. "Exactly, some of us need pushed to the very edge to see what we are made of," grinned the old man who was finally looking at her. She couldn't argue with that. Sound Ninja had pushed her to her brink and she had shown what she was made of. Vowing to get stronger, she wanted to be on equal footing as her teammates, but seeing what Naruto could already accomplish made her feel like a child trying to keep up with the grown-ups. Sakura decided then that she would not be satisfied until she made good on her vow to make the boys watch her from the back. Loud shouting reached her ears and pulled her from her thoughts. She couldn't make out all the words, but the tone dripped with defiance and purpose. Most likely her teammate was demanding respect because he was the future Hokage. "That a boy, Naruto," she smiled. Looking down to see what the quiet sage was doing, he was now staring in the opposite direction of his student, mumbling about research. Giggles belonging only to members of a delegate reached her ears. "Pervert," she growled as her foot slammed into his backside, kicking him out of the tree. Naruto swore to Chief Toad that the animal would see him as its master by him staying on his back for the rest of the day. Chief Toad wasn't one to back away from any challenge. He took the boy racing across the forest, hurtling through the sky, and diving to bottom of lakes. He jumped around in the water, creating a huge spray, making a wonderful rainbow that went unnoticed by the exhausted boy on the monster toad's back. The sage decided to not join the angry girl back in the tree and find a better vantage point to watch his bumbling student and the lovely ladies in barely their bikinis. The sun was nearing its descent as two worried ninja watched a third ride on the back of a wild romping toad. The boy was well past his limits, continuing on by sheer determination alone. With a last-ditch effort, the toad pulled out all the stops to rid himself of his annoying passenger. He charged and sprang into the air, smashing the boy to his back by the force of the wind. When the toad landed roughly, Naruto lost his footing and fell. He squeezed out enough chakra to bring shadow clones out to rescue him. Sakura wanted to help, but she knew at this point it would be unwelcomed. It was a battle of pride between the two. With the help of his clones, he was back on the toad. He celebrated a little too early, dancing away and mocking the toad before his fatigue crashed down upon him. Fainting, he fell from the mountain of a toad. "He'll die," Sakura cried, a small hand flying to her mouth trying to stop the words from coming true. A large pierced tongue reached out and saved him last moment. "You were so close, kid," chuckled the chief toad. He placed the boy back on his head for safekeeping. From somewhere behind him a scroll came flying by him and opened to show that Naruto had signed it, making him a summoner of toads. The old frog already knew the child had been the one to call him to this world. No one since the fourth Hokage had done that. As a reward for hanging on as long as he did, he took the boy to the hospital in the leaf. It was the least he could do after all he put him through. Sakura didn't know to where her teammate with the blonde unruly hair had been spirited away to. Not caring what had happened to her perverted companion, she worked her way back to the village. Finding out how the hell that boy summoned that monster toad was at the top of her to-do list. After a long walk, she was back in her hometown. It was all the buzz about the giant that appeared out of nowhere by the hospital. Hoping that was where she would find Naruto, she went there. He was sleeping comfortably in a hospital bed. He looked pretty cute when he was calm and peaceful like. She surprised herself thinking that way. Naruto had impressed her. She was willing to admit that she had a newfound respect for his abilities as a ninja. Making a decision to stay by his bedside all night, she succumbed to sleep sometime after midnight. Half laying on his bed, her hand dangerously close to his. Naruto was still sleeping like the dead when Sakura found herself waking by his side. Her petite hand nestled safely in his. Her young cheeks turned from a lovely peach to a beautiful shade of rosé. Recovering from her shock, she slipped her hand away from his. She was too lost in thought, clutching her warm hand, to notice the lecher grinning like a pervert from the window. "The boy has a way of growing on you," smiled the old man. Her head snapped up to stare at the man who yanked her from her thoughts of the blonde before her. His knowing look annoyed her, but only because it was true. He had grown on her, slowly, but he was persistent. Trying to change the subject, she asked a question. How the hell did he manage to summon that toad? "You'll have to ask him that." The man dodged giving her a real answer and took off before she could pester him further. Shikimaru popped in for a moment, but since Sakura was already there, he decided to not stick around. She felt like she was waiting forever for the sleeping boy to wake. When he did rouse, his heart swelled seeing his pink-haired teammate sitting by his hospital bed. He gave her his best smile and she returned it with a small, gentle one. Making small talk with him about how he felt and trying to draw out why he was in the hospital without having to be direct, but she failed. "Listen, Naruto," her voice worried. He began to panic, thinking something terrible had happened to Sasuke and that's why she was at his bedside. "I saw you summon the toad." He let out a breath he was holding. That wasn't as bad as what he was expecting to hear. Summoning that toad was something he was pretty proud of. That was pretty wild, wasn't it? He beamed. He didn't want to have this conversation with her. He felt like they were getting somewhere better in their relationship and he didn't want to explain that he had a demon sealed inside him. He started to move, to get out of the room that seemed to have shrunk 2 sizes. "How did you do it?" she asked, straight to the point. He gave her the basic rundown of a summoning that she could have read in any book on the subject, but that wasn't the question she wanted answered. He moved for the door and she blocked his path. "I didn't ask for the textbook definition of how to call a contracted animal. I ask how you did it. I want to know how that toad got here," she pushed. By her stance he knew she wasn't going to take anything less than the truth. It had been nice while it lasted, their new way of interacting, but it was about to be over with the next words out of his mouth. "I have the 9-tailed fox sealed in me. I used his chakra to summon that toad," he answered, blue eyes never wavering as they bore into green jewels. Then it was there, that cold look of fear and distrust. He was used to it, but seeing that look on her, it tore at his heart. He moved around her and headed out to find where pervy Sage was hiding, anywhere really to get away from that look. She saw it on his face, deep in his eyes. She hurt him with her reaction. Villagers had always treated him cold, scorning him whenever he came around. Even her own mother had told her to stay away from him when she was really young, trying to protect her from something unknown about the boy. He was headed for the door when her quick hands reached out and wrapped around a few of his fingers. "All I know about the 9 tails scares me," she started, not sure what to tell the boy. "But you don't scare me." "I don't understand," he confessed. He didn't see where she was going by saying that. "We've been on the same team long enough for me to know you fairly well. I trust you with my life. You're not the 9 tails. I just need a little time to get used to the idea that there is a demon in you." She explained as best she could what was in her heart. "I can give you time. Can you give me something?" he inquired, hope filling the hole opened by hurt. "I think I can," she answered as she let go of his fingers and he faced her. "Will you let me tell everyone in my own time?" he questioned. Some people wouldn't be ready for the truth about him yet. "It's your secret, I can keep it." She smiled as she stuck out her hand for him to shake. He had been through so much, he needed more than a casual handshake. Being bold, he grabbed her and pulled her into a giant hug. Her hair smelled of the forest and it was amazing to feel her body so close to his. He was prepared for whatever she was going to do to him for this. Rearrange his face again or send him flying out the window, he didn't care. He had been longing for human contact for way too long. Slowly her arms raised and placed them on his back, returning his embrace. Sometimes a little understanding can go a long way. Ever since Sakura found out that her blonde teammate housed the nine-tailed fox, the villain of children's bedtime stories, gobbling up the little ones who didn't listen to their parents, things had changed. Naruto still got on her nerves, and her temper still had a way of exploding on him, but there was comradeship from knowing his secret that changed their relationship. Something between them no one understood. She rooted for him through the Chunin exams. She had not been surprised that Naruto had saved her from Gaara, and she had tried to protect him from himself when he and Sasuke tested each other on the roof of the hospital. Through everything, she had stayed true to her word and not told anyone, not even their teammate or sensei, about the demon inside the boy. Though, she suspected Kakashi sensei already knew, but with no proof she never confronted him. Now, she had done the unthinkable to a friend. Please, please bring Sasuke back, she sobbed. Her words echoed in the deepest recesses of her mind. She was standing there, just outside his hospital room, riddled with guilt. He was imprisoned in these walls because of her careless words. Her hand was resting on the door. She knew she needed to open it and step through, but she didn't know what to say to him. How could she face him after making him take her burden, forcing on him her guilt for being incapable of stopping their teammate from chasing after the power he lusted for? She didn't deserve to be called Naruto's friend, his confidant, his comrade. Then Sasuke, she heard Shikamaru ask. Yeah, he's gone, Naruto's sad answer. Swallowing down the bile growing in her throat, she resolved to push the sliding door open. Before she could make her body listen to her commands, there was a different blonde standing beside her. News travels fast, smiled the lady fifth, walking past the girl stuck in her head and through the door to the boy inside. The boy she needed to face, to make sure he was fine. The boy she needed to reassure she would stay by his side, that they would fix this together. When he saw her she could feel it, his wide blue eyes. His heart was breaking, not keeping that stupid promise she shackled him with. The horror they held at having to tell her that he wasn't strong enough to keep his word, that her expectations were too high of him. He can tell, she already knows he failed, she can read him like an open book. Naruto, she uttered, she felt like she didn't deserve to say his name. Lady Tsunade said something to the boy, but the girl didn't hear it. All her focus on the pain clearly on Naruto's whiskered face. The hurt and shame she might as well put there herself. I'm sorry, Sakura, he says, it kills her like a slow knife twisting in her heart. She came to say those words, not to listen to them. Don't apologize, she says, look at you. All wrapped up. I bet you went overboard. The battle must have been brutal, by the way he was covered from head to toe in bandages. She could picture him giving everything to drag their friend back, all for the sake of a promise. I'm sorry, his words again. He needed her to understand, to accept his plea for forgiveness. Stop apologizing, she begs. If she hears those words from him again she might die. She moves to the window, opens the curtains, she needs a distraction. Outside it was a beautiful day, sun shining, birds chirping, and here she was feeling like the worst person in the world. Sakura, I will keep my promise, no matter what, I promised on my life, and I mean it. His voice begged for her understanding, but he didn't need to. This was bigger than just him, stronger than her, this would be a trial for all of them. This was history repeating itself, fate had done this to them. Naruto, it's all right, she spoke, softly, like the glass would break if she raised her voice. Sakura, Shikamaru started but was cut off by her teammate. It's my ninja way, you can believe I'll keep that promise. He smiled like a fool, the life returning to those sky-blue eyes she secretly loved. He laughed a bit, his cheery side finally returning, even if it was only to see her happy. A smile returned to her lips. He always had that infectious smile, she couldn't help but share it with him. She was the bigger fool here. She moved from the window to sit on his bed beside him. It's me that owes you an apology, I'm sorry I made you wait. Next time, we'll do it together, she stated, putting her hand on his head and pulling their heads together. Next time, it's you and me. All right. Just give me some time to catch up, she smiled. She got up and left, head held high. She'd make this mistake up to him, even if it killed her. She found a quiet spot to think, a bridge, with a peaceful water to help drown out the memories. Sasuke leaving would not break her, and she would not let her moment of weakness be the end of Naruto. She would shed this pathetic image and become a ninja the Leaf would be proud to have produced. She couldn't do it alone, she needed a guide, someone who would understand her plight. "Come in," sounded a voice behind the door. The pink cat found herself staring down. With every ounce of self-confidence she walked into the Hokage's office. "Please teach me, make me your disciple," she requested of the older woman. A sly grin came across the fifth Hokage of the Leaf. "I won't go easy on you." "I'd be disappointed if you did," the determined girl replied. She would do this, take whatever the Hokage dished out, for herself, for what was left of their team and for the one that got away. Fate tied her to a boy with a demon lock inside him and another with the weight of his hatred on his shoulders. She would find a way to be greater than both and rise above the ashes she had created by not taming her wild emotions. With one-on-one training she couldn't hide behind her boys, she would be on the front lines, learning from a legend. Not having time for anything else, her days and weeks blurred together, her body and chakra stamina were changing daily. "Naruto is leaving today," came Lady Tsunade's offhanded comment while sipping tea. "What? Nobody told me he was leaving. A mission or something?" asked the girl as she wiped fish smell off her hands. "He's going to be traveling with the Jiraiya for a few years, training," noted the slug princess. She had kept this information from the girl for her own good. But she had a change of heart, and if her apprentice wanted to say goodbye to the boy, she wasn't going to stand in her way. "You're going to let that pervert raise a teenage boy for a few years? Naruto is going to come back a panty-stealing, bathhouse peeping, womanizing creep," yelled the girl. "Well, go give him a piece of your mind," smirked the legendary medic. "I'm going to give him more than a piece," snarled the to-be medic. Sakura stormed off to the gates. She had to be quick, maybe she could stop this. Finding Naruto staring up at the stone faces that guarded the village, relief filled her small frame. She had just enough time. "Naruto," she called as she ran up to him. He greeted her with his trademark grin. "Come to see me off?" "No, don't go," she pleaded as she pulled him into an embrace. "I'm trying to catch up, I promise. Don't abandon me, not you too." His arms came up and returned her hug. "I have to do this. Pervy Sage is the only one who can teach me and he's leaving. I have to go, but I am coming back. Our team isn't dead. It's just taking different paths for a little while, but our paths will connect again," he reasoned, sounding very mature for him. "Don't go, train with me. Just don't go," she sniffed as tears trailed down her cheeks. She needed him here, for the days she'd want to give, for the days she celebrated her accomplishments, she needed him. "This is what's best for him," the toad sage butted in, wanting to get on the road. "You shut your fucking mouth, this is between me and him," she snarled as she pushed Naruto behind her so she was between him and the man taking him from her. Naruto knew she cussed when she was uncomfortable with what was going on around her. The lecher would get more than he bargained for if he angered her. "None of that, I'll be back before you know it, and when I do, I want to fight you," Naruto grinned. Her eyebrows shot up, he was acknowledging her as a ninja and wanted to fight, her heart about burst. A hot glare set on the old man. She'd make him regret the day he was born if he twisted her Naruto into a replica of himself. Pointing a finger at the sage she swore to him, "If he comes back half the pervert you are, I will kill you." The legendary ninja blinked in surprise. He didn't know what shocked him more, the fact that she had the balls to threaten a Sannin or that he was scared she would carry it through. Ever since their encounter when Naruto summoned the chief toad, he was leery of her. "I will bring him back as pure as he is toady," the old man assured, hoping to pacify the spunky rosette. She dried her eyes, straightened her back, and gathered her last bit of resolve. "Fine then, remember Naruto, I won't be easy when you get home so you better train hard," she warned. The last thing she wanted to do was support him leaving, but if that was what he wanted she would stand by that decision. He was her rock in many ways, she could be his this time. "Believe it," he yelled and held up a thumb. A devious smirk graced her features. She refused to watch him walk out of those gates, and out of her life. She turned and walked back in the direction of the heart of the village, only waving once over her shoulder. Now that her decision was made, she would take great care to follow through with her promises. Naruto wouldn't know what hit him when she caught up to him, and that pervert sage would find she could kill him if he didn't keep to his word. Promises, that's what drove them, promises to a loved one, and promises to themselves. Pushing themselves to the brink became the normal for the two teenagers. Their training, their trials, they pushed everything they did, never settling for good enough. It had to be great or perfect. Even with the miles that separated them, they were never far from each other's thoughts. They grew, in mind, body and experience. From his perch, he looked over his village, his home. He breathed in its familiar scent and heard its comforting hum. It hadn't changed, except Granny's face was now among the faces of stone looming over the village. "Yo," came the sound of a comforting voice. "Looks like you've finally grown a little." There was his sensei, relaxing on the roof, reading that ever-loving porn book. Naruto chuckled to himself. How Kakashi never got hit for being a pervert was beyond him. Maybe it was the quiet perverts that flew under his teammates' radar. Joining the copycat ninja on the roof made the young man nostalgic. "Don't be jealous, you haven't changed at all," smiled the mouthy youngster. "Speaking of things never changing, here's this. It's really boring, but I think you'll enjoy it." He handed his sensei his copy of the next book coming out written by his pervert master. Naruto chuckled as the man sputtered for words at the lusty treasure before him. Thanks to his mask, the student couldn't tell the man was close to drooling over the naughty novel. It had been 3 long years waiting for it, and he had begun to give up hope of the sage ever writing another one. With training the rambunctious boy and spying for the leaf, he had understood why it may never come, but that didn't stop his disappointment. Not waiting for the boy to leave, he opened the crisp pages and breathed in deep that new book smell. "Now, I have an important matter to take care of. Next stop Ichiraku Ramen," yelled the teen, leaping back down to the road. He really wanted to see Sakura. His hands ached to feel her skin under them. He wanted to breathe in her heavenly scent, thread his fingers into her rose-colored locks, press his lips to hers, and never be apart from her again. If only she felt the same. While deep in thought, he didn't realize she was walking with her master in front of him until her voice said something to the busty blonde she was accompanying. "Sakura!" he yelled out in his excitement of his daydream coming to life before him. She looked good, better than he remembered. She'd grown and his mind ran wild with all the dreams he had of her over the years they'd been apart. "Naruto, look at you," she smiled. He felt his insides melt. "Well, what do you think? Have I become a woman while you were gone?" she teased. His mouth went dry. If he said all the things that came straight to his mind to answer her dangerous question, his master was a dead man. Sakura decided fate was cruel to shackle her to him now. She'd already given her heart to one man who had rejected it with contempt, and now this boy-turned-man was before her, bound to her with words spoken at her weakest moment. She would find a different way to bind them together. "You haven't changed a bit," smiled the idiot. He said the safest thing he could think of to save his master's perverted ass. "You still don't understand the mind of women," growled pervy sage. Naruto just smiled like a fool. He may not understand all women, but he knew his Sakura, and she'd kill the man without batting an eyelash. Jiraiya shook his head in exasperation, and Lady Tsunade just smiled at the teen's interactions, reminding her of her youth. "Are you finally taller than me?" she teased as she got closer to him. Any excuse would do. He started estimating his height compared to hers, busying his hands so he wouldn't grab her and make his fantasy come true. Next thing they know, there is a naked woman among them, calling out to the spunky blonde. No one was impressed as the naked woman vanished to reveal a grinning boy. Naruto waved the boy's antics off as child's play. Sakura was so proud of him. Being immersed around that lecher and his questionable hobby hadn't tainted his morals. She wanted to hug him and gush with joy of having her friend back until he went off about some super hardcore technique. Her anger rose to new levels. In a flash, her fist made contact with the distracted toad sage. A small crater graced the ground where the man once stood, and his crumpled body twitched inside it. "You bastard, you're a dead man," she raged, ready to deliver another blow. Naruto restrained her from behind before she could go in for the kill. "I see the student is following the master closely," noted the Lady Hokage on Naruto's antics. "He pulled that shit before he ever met me," yelled the sage from the ground, cradling his wound. The pain that washed over his body reminded him of the times the slug princess pummeled him. "Like you're one to talk," he whispered, looking at the pink-haired banshee ready to end him. He didn't do this before. She gestured to the warm hand cupping her. 3 adults chuckled as the blonde turned 17 shades of pink. He started to stutter a poor excuse for an apology, but he had done nothing to remove himself from her. Now, not only did he fear for his master's life but his own as well. She had sought to murder him one time for just thinking he tried to cop a feel, but now, his massive hand was holding her, and every time she struggled, instincts clamped down on the soft flesh. Blood was rushing to all the wrong places as her warm body was snug against his, her intoxicating scent filling his nostrils, and it felt exhilarating to play with something so dangerous. Kakashi, sighed Tsunade, not seeing this end well if they didn't intervene. Alright, foreplay is over, let's get down to business. He paused to let the two teens recover from his choice of words. You two are now part of my team. But our relationship is different now. We are equals on this team and I expect you both to act as much. Before we continue, I am curious about my teammate's skills. His eye crinkled in a smile as he held up two silver bells. A dangerous grin pulled at the rosette's plump lips. Think you can keep your hands off me long enough to get those? She asked, green eyes dancing with ambition. She took his recently recaptured breath away. Only managing a nod to her question, she let the boy return to his feet. The rules haven't changed. If you don't come at me with intent to kill, you will fail, warned their white-haired teammate. Sounds delicious, she purred, ready to let Naruto see what he was in for when they got their chance to battle. What had that old hag turned his sweet Sakura into? He had loved the girl before his training took him away from her, and he loved her enough to accept she had changed. He would miss the girl she used to be, but he would respect the woman still standing close to him. They soon found themselves on hallowed ground, where Team 7 was born. The labor pains had been excruciating, but in the end something wonderful had entered the world. It had saved two lost boys from their loneliness and brought one lost girl to the path to find herself. This place brings back memories, mused the blonde. Sakura only nodded, not wanting to dwell on the past. She wanted to move forward. She wanted retribution for not being able to stop their friend, and making Naruto take her burden. She heard them say a name she had refused to utter since he left. She watched as it brought Naruto to his knees. That was her fault. He couldn't stand under the pressure she heaved onto his broad muscular shoulders. She didn't blame him. Hate was a powerful emotion. Only one thing was stronger, and it would take every last drop of their love to bring him home. She pulled her midnight black gloves from her pouch and slipped her slender fingers into their proper places. The worn leather welcomed her hands as she cracked her knuckles. Come Naruto, don't show your weakness to our opponent, she called, watching him raise himself from the ground, curious she hadn't been overwhelmed like him. The sound of pages snapping together tore his attention from her to their former sensei. Not only had he closed his book and put it safely away, his hands moved the blue strap that held his forehead protector over his gifted eye, to sit perfectly on his brow. A sense of accomplishment sent shivers through her excited body. He was already taking them serious. She smiled at her comrade, as his blue eyes danced with the same excitement. He leapt into action. Weapon flew from both males. She watched in awe as he and the copycat ninja exchanged moves reminiscent of their first time on the field together. Naruto caught up with his own weapon to the back of his head, but this time there was a weapon to a vital spot on the seasoned ninja. Now, let's begin, chuckled the deep voice of Kakashi before he vanished. She scanned the area. He must have gone below. He'd learned soon enough that wasn't a safe place from her. She caged the buzz in her heart and moved her chakra expertly to her fist, sending it all into the earth, ravaging it to bits. There was the father of Team 7, looking shocked by her raw power. He should have known she didn't spend the last 2.5 years just learning how to be a medic. It was pleasurable to watch the ground return to the earth after she disturbed it so profusely. Naruto made a mental note to quit screwing around in front of the woman he loved and sent a silent thank you to whatever deity saved his ass after publicly groping her. Again he attacked head-on with a barrage of weapons and shadow clones while Sakura followed closely behind trying to deliver a life-ending strike. It didn't take long for all the weaponry to be deflected or dodged and all the shadow clones to poof away from a blow from the veteran. They ended up separating, Kakashi disguising himself in a tree while the teens found themselves at the base of a different tree panting. He's as good as I remember, maybe better, sighed her companion as he wiped some blood that was slowly traveling down his cheek from a scratch put there by the white-haired man. Here, she moved in close, putting her hand to his injured cheek. I know that you have the 9 tails and he can speed up your healing, but I want you to see that I'm not useless anymore, she stated as her chakra stitched his cells back together. Shock filled his blue eyes, not by her abilities, as impressive as they were, but her words drug in his chest like her boot had earlier that day. He grabbed her wrist and pulled her face closer to his. She needed to hear this. I never thought of you as useless. I protected you because you're my friend and that's what friends do. I didn't see you as a rival, but that doesn't mean I considered you useless, he growled out. Naruto, she stuttered out, his hot breath fanning her face, drawing her in. He confused her heart. She didn't know if it would thump out of control or stop. It hitched and spiraled out of control, adrenaline coursed throughout her veins. I have an idea, she stated, trying to move to a safer subject. Kakashi had caught his breath and was planning counter-strategies as he prepared for whatever they brought his way. He turned to find his knuckled-headed, unpredictable student was attacking head-on and alone. He summoned a large mass of shadow clones, while his pink-haired teammate transformed into a carbon copy of the blonde to hide in plain sight. As the clone army attacked, she slipped in close, Kakashi being none the wiser to the danger lurking in the sea of Naruto clones. As he battled the horde back, them vanishing in clouds of smoke with every move of his body until one hit solid. Thinking it the true Naruto, he moved to strike, but a skilled hand shot through his torso in a non-vital spot. The transformation released to see a pink-haired vixen's face dotted with the blood spray, a mask of determination over her green eyes. No remorse, she didn't see her sensei, she saw another challenge to overcome to complete her goals. Her free hand snagged the bells, tossing one to her comrade while the other dangled from her fingers before the injured man. Sakura, Naruto called, jaw hanging like it had come unhinged. She pulled her arm from the man's body. Sorry, she grimaced as she laid him on the ground to administer healing. To the young man's surprise, Kakashi was chuckling, a pride in his dark eyes. I'm very impressed with you too, that was superb teamwork, and I'm glad I don't have to fight you again, laughed the injured man as pain shot down his nerves. Once she had him made whole again, he vanished with the excuse of paperwork to hand in. She didn't believe him, he just wanted to absorb himself in his new book. That was a little much, wasn't it? Questioned Naruto, determined to figure out her mind. He asked for killing intent, so I delivered, was her quick reply. What happened while I was gone? He pondered out loud. I was lost without a team to stand by, she answered, looking off into the distance. I promised to come back, Team 7 is not gone, you and I are still here, he declared. She looked at him, like she was searching the very pit of his soul, like she could see it and the demon stored there behind his sealed bars. Something was radiating from her. If it was her killing intent, he was in trouble because of the lethal levels. Fuck it, she growled, grabbing the surprised male and kissing him with her dirty mouth. It was hot as she found herself in his lap, his scent mixed with the lingering smell of their opponent's blood. He didn't know what to do. He'd read about this kind of thing in those blasted books his master wrote, but he never expected to find himself in this situation with her. She broke the kiss panting. She had to know why her body demanded his, why the empty spot in her heart was filled now that he was near. Tell anyone about this and I'll kill you, she threatened through her rapid breaths. I'm telling everyone, I'm going to shout it from the top of the Hokage's heads, so if you don't want anyone to know, you better kill me now, or kiss me again and make me forget how to talk. He titillated, stroking circles on her sides. Blackmail, she liked it. She captured his mouth again. Driven by urges alone, she kissed him until she couldn't think straight. She hoped she had the same effect on him. Watching him as they parted, she felt she had succeeded in making his brain mush. See you around, Naruto, she smirked as she walked away. Curse that woman for confusing him so much. Flopping back on the soft earth, he pondered the day. He'd returned home, felt up the girl he loved, defeated a seasoned ninja, and been kissed by the same girl he got to grope. It was a good day. But she made it so he needed to head home and climb into a cold shower. He'd saved their battle for another day. Sometimes waiting made things better. Sweat trickled down his neck to be absorbed by his dark undershirt, sending a shiver down his back. It was a hot day with the sun beating down on him, but it wasn't the cause of his perspiration. She had told him, hadn't she, tried to warn him? Come at me with intent to kill or you won't win, she grinned. A primal scream sounded behind him just before the massive tree he was hiding behind burst to splinters. He was on his feet, running long before the dust and wood chips settled. Close combat with her was dangerous. She'd already broken 3 ribs. Clones disappeared whenever she struck the ground and she countered every weapon he threw at her. He should have known better than to fight her when she was angry with him. "You kissed me," he yelled, not understanding why she was being so distant. "That doesn't make me your fucking girlfriend," she screamed back. Things spiraled out of control from there. He stopped abruptly and bent back rapidly, watching as a glove-covered fist swung past his nose and into the rock wall to his side. A boulder turned to pebbles in an instant. She oozed intent to kill from her mesmerizing eyes. In that moment he feared her more than any opponent they had ever faced. She was ready to rip him apart and he felt guilty for the small bruise forming on her cheek. His fist smashed into her rosy cheek, sounding like he might have broken the bone beneath her eye. To her credit, she hadn't let a single scream out of her pretty mouth, or cried a single tear from her determined eyes. All she allowed was for her already darkened glare to turn sinister. "Better have enjoyed that, it's the last hit you'll get on me," she predicted. So far, it had held true, but he was growing weary of just dodging. He kicked at her but she caught his leg and held it fast. Her elbow prepared to smash into his knee. She was in a perfect position to deliver a devastating injury, but she hesitated. "You should have told me. I would have understood, I would have gone with you, I would have helped protect you from them," she cried. They weren't even home 5 minutes and she was laying into him about not telling her about the organization that was after the tailed beast inside of him. He knew she saw him when she looked at Gaara's lifeless body. "You needed to stay here and learn from Granny, I couldn't take that away from you," he argued. "You should have given me the choice, instead of walking out of my life for 2 years, she snapped. "What do you care, you're not my girlfriend," he threw her words back in her face. In that second of hesitation he got the upper hand, sending her tumbling along the dirt and grass. She got up and dusted herself off. "If you still can't see why I'm upset, this is pointless," she sighed, using a little healing on her elbow. "If you can't see why I protect you, then maybe it is pointless," he agreed, wanting to end the fight. No one would win this battle. They both were about to lose each other. She came at him again, but he could see it in her movements. She was just attacking out of anger with no plan. Her emotions were getting the better of her, blinded by all the thing crashing around her. If she lost him, there was no way to bring him back. Gaara had been lucky someone was willing to give up their life to save his and had the skill to do it. Naruto had never been lucky, he got the bad end of everything. Watching his blue eyes stare up at nothing, without that spark of life, would kill her. "You should have told me," she cried, swinging a fist. He grabbed it and pulled her close. "I didn't tell anybody," he growled. Hurt washed over her eyes as they slowly went to the ground at their feet. "I'm not anybody," she whispered. He didn't know what to say, and before he could get his brain to process her words, she pushed him away and ran, tears spilling to the ground. He knew where she was headed, off to see Granny. He'd give them a bit, then they were both getting a piece of his tailed beast mind. Naruto had pissed her off and Kakashi was in the hospital. It was a bad time to have a fight with the blonde, but he needed to know she would not sit quietly in the dark. They were teammates after all. Even if she had made the mistake of letting her emotions get the best of her and kiss the Y-brat, they still had a job to do. She found herself on the balcony outside of the Hokage's office discussing the little jewel of information she had learned from Sasori. Shizune was busy trying to talk Lady Tsunade out of letting Naruto or Sakura or both go on the next mission to the bridge. Sakura was happy the Hokage was on her side. There was no way Naruto would agree to stay behind, and hell itself couldn't keep her from this mission. She listened quietly as the 2 other women discussed what should happen next. "We'll just have to add another member for our hospitalized Kakashi. What do you think, Naruto?" called the Lady Fifth. "Leave it to me, I'll find someone," he yelled, coming out of his hiding spot on the roof above them, then taking off in search to fill the gap left by their chakra-exhausted teammate. The glare the pinkette gave the blonde as he raced off did not go unnoticed by the Hokage. "Lovers quarrel?" she teased her apprentice. She had taken to calling them lovers ever since Naruto groped Sakura so openly and she didn't end his existence. "You could call it that," Sakura sighed. "Well, sort it out, you got a mission. And go tell that boy I already have someone in mind," ordered the Hokage. With a nod, Sakura took off after him. They would resolve this before they left the village, or it could jeopardize everything they had worked so hard to accomplish. She knew Naruto had speed, but this was ridiculous. She couldn't find him anywhere. She ran into Team Kurenai moments too late. Naruto had already been turned down by them because they had a mission of their own. She heard Ino's voice calling out to Naruto and headed that direction. The sight she found was discouraging. A black substance was everywhere. Her teammate was fuming mad. Two boys from another team were angry. And then Ino acted oblivious to the situation. Then he dares to ask me what I have in between my legs. Spat out her disgruntled teammate. Sakura shook her head hearing this. Let's go, Naruto, she said as she waved him on. They needed to meet up with the new members Tsunade had already chosen for the mission. Who does that guy think he is? Questioned the mad blonde. She shrugged her shoulders and they continued walking. An uncomfortable silence filled in between them, like a mist on the air. Just as they neared the meeting place, the girl had an urge to confront the boy before they embarked on their mission. She briskly shoved him into the wall they were walking next to. You should have told me people were after you for the 9 tails inside you, she stated, her smaller hands pushed to his shoulders. She had told him this once before, but he didn't seem to take it to heart. I didn't tell because I didn't want to burden you, you're my friend, he reasoned. I'm your teammate, I needed to know, she put her forehead to his chest. I'm not just your friend. Comrade is a bond deeper and stronger than friendship, and longer lasting than something trivial as girlfriend. What we have, her breath hitched, it was painful to say. It hurt to be so exposed to someone who held such power over her, is too precious to throw away over. She was cut off before she could finish her sentence. Sakura, stop, her brow creased in emotional anguish. She shut down her breathing, trying to lock down the sobs that threatened to erupt. The bond we have will survive this. It's all right for us to get angry with one another. You're always mad at me. He let out a little chuckle. It won't break us, we just get a little bent, he assured her as he rubbed her back. Her teary eyes looked up into his crystal blue orbs, full of reassurance and confidence in his words. Their bond wasn't fragile, they didn't need to handle it with kid gloves, it could take a little strain. But she would not allow for it to be abused. It was durable, but she decided to not test its vastness. They continued walking again, both feeling better. It warmed Naruto's heart that she was so worried about him, and Sakura was glad he had such faith in their bond. Once they reached the spot, there were already 2 figures there waiting for them. It's you, screamed out her friend next to her, startling the little pinkhead. I'll be taking Kakashi's place on the team, said a man with brown hair, dark eyes, and a strange forehead protector that took up more of his face than a normal one. But no one was paying attention to him as they were all focused on the black-haired pale boy Naruto screamed at. I'm sorry about earlier, I just wanted to measure you. I didn't realize you would come up so short, smiled the new boy. What? I would have kicked your ass if you hadn't ran away, yelled the angry blonde. Settle down, we're going to have to work together, even if he is an ass. Sakura tried to be the voice of reason. I like people like you, friendly and ugly, smirked the pale boy. You're dead, Sakura stated, taking a step in his direction, only to be stopped by Kakashi's replacement. The man then went on to make them all settle down, introduce themselves, and learn about the mission. Tensions were high, and the 2 originals were barely listening to the man called Yamato. They had heard most of it before, and they were more concerned with how to make the rude boy pay for his words. As their tempers cooled, they started to focus on the words coming from the veteran. We'll meet in an hour, have you equipment and we'll set out, announced the man. I hate that creep, sigh, what a terrible name, snarled Naruto as he walked with Sakura. Yeah, he's a vulgar Sasuke, she laughed. No way, Sasuke is way better than that poor excuse for a human being, he growled out, making his companion smile at his words. An hours passed by quickly and they all assembled at the gate, ready for their mission. Naruto was glaring daggers at the jerk who kept referring to his private parts with unkind statements. Alright, let's go Team Kakashi, called Yamato over his shoulder, walking ahead of the group. Silence was thick between them, all that could be heard was their footsteps and the occasional bird squawk. Naruto was still bitter about not being able to choose the new member and being stuck with such a person Sai was turning out to be. His evil sidelong glances did not go unnoticed by the unwanted ninja. Can I help you? Sai inquired of the blonde, tired of the looks. I guess I can see how you would think they are similar, Naruto noted to Sakura. I may have to hit you if you keep glancing over here with that stupid look, warned Sai. Every time you open your mouth, garbage comes pouring out, yelled the clone user. Sakura rubbed her temples as the boys laid into each other. Sai sounded bored by the ordeal, but he kept up the taunting words, and Naruto was screaming at the boy, drawing their captain into the entire debate over teammates. who belonged on the team and who was missing. Sasuke, he brought him up and told Sai he was merely a placeholder for the missing ninja. Things took a turn for the worse from there, the new member spouting off about how he didn't want to be anything like Sasuke, listing the things he had done wrong and dragging his name down in mud. Most of it was true, which only made it hurt worse, but he didn't know the man they were on a mission to find information about. It wasn't his place to say those things. She could see it, Naruto was at the end of his tolerance for this boy with the bad mouth. Her friend went to move, he was going to punch that stupid smile off the boy's face if it was the last thing he did. But his sweet Sakura stopped him with a gesture of her arm. A simple movement blocking off a demon from destroying the vulgar male. Teamwork is very important. You'll have to forgive Naruto, he tends to mouth off, she stated, her green eyes locked onto the newcomers and expressive ones. It's not a problem, grinned the pale boy. Wonderful, she smiled, looking like she was truly happy they had come to an agreement. Before anyone could react, her fist slammed into the jaw of the boy who said too much about a friend, and hurt her Naruto with words that made her remember all the guilt she heaved on him. The bitter taste in her mouth at asking this horrid person to forgive a man who was a saint with a demon welled inside of him needed to be removed the only way she knew how, with her fists. She would not permit anyone to make Naruto wear that look of pain on his face. She found a sick pleasure in the way her punch collided with his unsuspecting face, and his body bounced unnaturally on the ground, skidding to a stop. A crimson liquid leaking from the corner of his mouth. As for me, I don't want anything from you. Least of all your forgiveness, her words dark and cold. Seems you are trickier than I thought, he commented as he wiped the dribble of blood from his face. You're too free with your words about my teammates, say anything about them one more time, and I won't hold back, she warned. I will choose my words carefully in front of you from now on. I am impressed with your fake smile thought, I shall remember it. Again the boy smiled at her. Again Naruto started yelling at the cool acting boy. Unhappy about how the situation played out. Sakura didn't care how he dealt with her punch as long as he got the message. While they were busy arguing, their captain used a technique calling forth a cage from the ground made of wood. Sakura was very impressed and surprised someone could use such a thing. This is how I see it, now you guys can work out your differences in this cage for a day or two, or we can go to a hot springs and get to know each other. I would rather do this the nice way, but if you want, I can rule with fear, warned their captain, making a scary face. Do what you have to do, Captain, but if you stick me in that cage, someone isn't coming out alive, warned the pinkette, looking equally as dangerous. Sakura liked this side of their captain, scary face and all. She didn't swear, Naruto noted, swallowing hard, fear of what may come next sticking in his throat. What does that matter? Asked the pale ninja. It means, he stopped, she was looking at him with those piercing green eyes. He wasn't sure what it meant, but he felt it was dangerous. Captain Yamato had been warned about the rosette, but he didn't think she would be this intense. He'd forego the cage idea, for now, seeing how it spoke to her on a primal level. Once in the hot springs, they would relax a bit and let the harsh words go, and he wouldn't have to use his scroll for dead bodies on this mission. Inside the warm water of the hot springs, Sakura cringed, as she heard Naruto screaming at Sai about his penis. Not on purpose, but she knew the boy was packing. She didn't have details, but she had hit him there a couple times on accident. Another scream sounded from the boy's side, and Sakura wished she was over there with her teammates instead of surrounded by strangers. She smiled to herself, now she was the pervert of the team, thinking of ways to sneak over to the boy's side just to avoiding being alone in a sea of people. After her bath and a good night's rest in the hotel, and Sakura was feeling like a new woman. She noticed the new creep to grace the team sitting with a sketchbook drawing near the river. She decided to see if they could come to some sort of understanding. Hey Sai, she called as she walked up to him. Come to hit me again? He questioned, noticing her fake smile. As soon as you give me an excuse, I'm going to smash that stupid look so far into your face you can kiss the back of your thick skull, she grinned. You're really violent, he smirked. You're really a perverted prick, but it looks like you have an artistic side. That's what I really came out to do. See what you're drawing, she confessed, looking over his shoulder. It's nothing special, he noted as his hand continued in its work to detail the lines. What's it called? She asked, looking at the abstract picture. Called? It's called a picture, he stated calmly. I meant its name, asshole, she slightly growled as she sat next to the fair-skinned boy. Oh, he smiled that infuriating smile. It doesn't have a name, he answered, adjusting his grip on the coloring device. Why not? Do you wait until they are finished to title your pictures? She questioned further. I've lost count of how many pictures I've drawn in my lifetime, but I can tell you exactly how many I've named: 0. I've tried to name some of them, but nothing ever comes to mind. They don't bring any feelings forth to grant them names. Nothing ever does, he explained. You trying to tell me you don't have feelings? She questioned, a slightly amused grin tugging at her lips. That's exactly what I am saying. I don't feel anything, not for this picture, not for you, your loudmouth teammate, or this mission. They do nothing for me, he stated, his hand pausing for a moment. Well, I think you are full of shit. You may not let them govern you like some people. Her own transgressions danced across her memory and how she shackled her friend with a curse because of her emotions. But I see them in you. She leaned into him as he turned to look at her. Right now, I see fear, she purred, getting dangerously close to the boy. You are mistaken, he started. I am not, she interrupted, leaning so her chest was touching his. You can fool yourself, but you can't fool me. I've been dealing with people who wear their faces as a mask longer than you can imagine. He thought of protesting again, but her deep green eyes were daring him to. He didn't feel like giving the crazed girl a reason to strike him. A satisfied smile on her lips teased him. Are you going to kiss me? He questioned, not sure why she was invading his personal space on such a scale. No, I wanted to make sure I had your undivided attention when I spell this out for you. Her bony pointer finger poked into this chest. If you do any more measuring of Naruto, you'd better be prepared to measure the full weight of my wrath as well, she warned, eyes cold and dangerous. I understand, he replied, not bothering with any kind of fake expression with her, letting his eyes bask in her intense gaze. Another presence cleared their throat, causing dark and green to turn looking into blue. Captain Yamato sent me after you guys, he stated, not liking the situation before him. We better do as the captain says, she decided, moving away from the teenage boy. What was that about? Naruto asked as she went by him. Just a little chat, her gloating smile told him a different story, but he let it go. It wasn't easy traveling with two males who wanted to kill each other and another who liked to scare the blonde senseless. Captain Yamato decided to have the two boys work together and attack him. Sakura had never seen a worse failed attempt at teamwork in her life, and that was even compared to Sasuke's and Naruto's in the beginnings of Team 7. Then the arguing started, harsh words exchanged by both parties. When Naruto reached his boiling point, Sakura was beyond ready to step in. I'll do anything for someone I consider a friend, even work with an awful person like you, snarled out an angry blonde ninja. He began to walk off to fetch his gear. He may be trying to let his go, but Sakura was not as forgiving as him. Why does he cling to someone who obviously didn't want to stay? Sai asked as he watched the blondes retreating back. He is the first person Naruto formed a bond with. She waltzed up to the dark-haired boy and grabbed his private parts. He winced under her less than gentle touch. I would like to remind you, I said if you badmouthed my teammates again, I wouldn't hold back. You still don't know me very well, but I'm a medic ninja. I know exactly how much pressure to put on your equipment to render you useless to the female population for procreation. His eyes went wide with her words. I also know how much will kill a man. Her grip tightened on his sensitive area. Keep pushing Naruto, and I will show you the required amounts, she threatened darkly. Enough of the horseplay, Captain Yamato sighed. You shouldn't let him call you a horse, he taunted, only for her to twist her hand. His pain-filled groan filled her ear. You just decreased your chance at children by 10%. Want to go for 20? She questioned. I've noticed you are very gentle with Naruto, would that be because of your bond with him? Sai panted out, hunching over a little from pain. I haven't always been gentle with him. I used to have a little bit of a temper, she confessed as she released the boy's package. I have measured your wrath, it's a pervert, he noted, again not bothering to be deceptive with her. Winking at him like a minx, she took off after the blonde. Playfully, she jumped onto his back. What are you doing? He growled, still mad about his battle exercise with Sai. I'm tired, carry me, she whined, she just wanted a reason to be close to him. I had to fight with that idiot, you should carry me, Naruto huffed, feeling her cheek pressed to his ear. You've got enough stamina to go for days, you big baby, she played at his ego. Is that what the girls are saying around town? He teased, his grin coming back, earning him a smack to the back of the head. Pervert, she said, but he could hear the grin in her voice. If he only knew what she did to Sai. He turned them around. Hurry up or all this crap is pointless, he yelled to the stranglers. Waiting until the rosette was far away, Sai breathed a sigh of relief. He was beginning to think his so-called teammates were more dangerous than the mission he was sent on. The rest of the trip to the bridge was uneventful compared to the failed teamwork and abusive groping. The boy who claimed to have no emotions did not understand the things tugging harshly at his mind. He could have got out of the medic's hold without injury to himself, but something had held him there. Pondering what it could be, he ran through all the things he had read about the feelings he didn't think he felt. The things he learned about fear fit the physical things that happened. Rapid heartbeat and sweating, he normally didn't sweat, and his limbs froze. There was another thing that detained him, he craved to know why she was so protective of the boy. Whatever had stopped his feet from moving, he stubbornly thought it wasn't any kind of emotion. Sometime the biggest lies are the ones we tell ourselves. The trio of teens were safely nestled behind some large rocks as their brave captain moved over the bridge in his Sasori disguise. With all the wind, it was a good spot to hide. The breeze howled loud enough to drown out any sound and swept their scent away from the spy waiting for slow-moving wood puppet. When the man removed his hood, Surprise had free rein to play over the minds of the two originals from Team Kakashi. Kabuto, snarled the blonde as the pink cat held fast to his arm to keep him from leaving their hiding spot. Time slowly ticked by for the one stuck behind the boulders, but for the man on the front lines it flew by with frightening speed. He was trying to be careful, safe, make sure he squeezed out every precious drop of information he could, and all that time not give himself away as a fake. Naruto tried to remain calm, to wait for orders, like a good ninja, but his mind told him something was wrong. They needed to act now, but Captain Yamato would not be forgiving of him acting on his gut instinct. He was sure the two off to his side would also have scolding words for him, especially his temperamental pink-haired teammate. Just give the fucking signal, Naruto spat out in his frustration. This is Kabuto we're dealing with, chill the fuck out, snapped Sakura. She wanted that damn signal just as bad as her friend, but charging in ahead of everyone like the blonde tended to do wouldn't help them here. There is such a thing as being too slow, Sai spoke up. Right then the girl had to check if this was a nightmare or illusion, because she never thought she would live long enough to hear Sai ever come so close to agreeing with Naruto. Moving her attention back to the tense happenings of their mission, her eyes widened in horror as a third man joined the two on the center of the bridge, dangling over a vast gorge. It was a man she wished to see bloody and no longer breathing, Orochimaru. She had to grab Naruto's arm for a second time, but it was to root her to the ground instead of him. They waited painfully as the fake puppet master and the spy squared off against the snake. It surprised everyone when the ninja in glasses turned on their captain. Now, both impatient teens were itching to spring into actions. Watching Yamato become entangled with snakes made the girl's skin crawl. All the slimy serpents got for their efforts of tangling and biting the man was a large chunk of a wooden doll. Watching the standoff between the three was slowly killing Naruto. There was the man who ruined the lives of Team 7. There was the man who abducted his friend with promises of power. His gaze was so intent on the sickly-looking man that he almost missed the signal he'd been dying to see. The three sprung into action, landing on the bridge before their captain with a small thud. Noise was an enemy to these masters of silent killing. Let's play with these mice for a bit. The fox boy should prove somewhat entertaining, grinned the evil snake man. Maybe if you're a good little demon, I will tell you who is stronger now, you or my Sasuke. Give him back, Naruto growled out. There is no giving back what left of their own free will. You need to stop acting so childish, corrected the white-haired medic with a taunting smirk. Shut the fuck up, asshole, snapped the girl. She could see her friend shaking in rage at the other medic's words. You don't know anything about our feelings, and even less about Naruto. If you want to know about your friend so bad, you could try forcing it out of me. That could be fun, Orochimaru hissed through a sick sadistic smile. It almost made the girl lose her cool again. She wanted to wipe those looks off their targets' faces and replace them with ones of pure anguish. A force beside her broke a part of the wooden planks under their feet. Sakura had to block the dust and wood that came flying from the enormous pressure that sprang from beside her. Naruto, the friend she would die for, was attacking the snake wielder, leaving her in the dust once again. His rage was giving way to something deeper, something dark and uncontrollable. His seething contempt for the man who brought such heartache to members of his team was palatable. He felt it bubbling off of him in waves. His hate for this man oozed out of every pore in his skin. He wasn't thinking, he was acting with how his body demanded, and it cried out for this man's head to be separated from his body. His clawed fingers sank into the fleshy false face of the bitter snake. Naruto found a small ting of pleasure by the slight fear in the overconfident man's eyes. The snake-eyed man went flying off the bridge and thrashing through the woods. When Naruto looked back, Sakura didn't see him, she saw the beast in his eyes. His predatory red eyes burned at her soul, his fangs protruded past his lips, and his chakra formed large ears at the top of his head. She had known the fox was in there for a while now, but to see it was different. It wasn't fear that sprang forth in her chest, as his single tail swished back and forth. All she felt was concern. If he was lost to the demon fox, what would bring him back? Kabuto and Orochimaru complimented him on being a fine sacrifice, a child given up to jail the demon of the nine-tailed fox. They had no right to look at him like he was an lab subject they could dissect and figure out how he ticked. The boy had been treated less than human, like he carried some kind of plague. She had been guilty of following the group mentality, but all it had taken was a misunderstanding and then the truth for her to see what kind of person he was. He still got annoying with his screaming about being Hokage so everyone would see him, acknowledge his existence, but what else could a boy do when the world abandoned you for something you had no control over? She saw him, he wasn't a sacrifice, he was someone who overcame that bitch fate. Cruel destiny had dealt him a shitty hand and he was playing it like a champion. In this moment Sakura worried he was about to fold under the pressure and become what everyone accused him of being, a monster. Her mind snapped out of her pondering of the blonde in front of them to hear that their dear, sometimes scary, captain was part of the experiments Orochimaru performed. It explained why the man could use the wood style only one man had been able to. I wonder who would win in a fight, my Sasuke or this little fox boy, mused the snake in his deep silk voice. He's not yours, don't call him that in front of me, snarled the demon boy as two more tails formed. Chakra spun uncontrollably in the air away from the boy. It burned and clawed at the living things around it. Naruto felt himself slipping, he was succumbing to the pleasure of the pain, he longed to kill the man before him. Death whispered sweet nothings of hate and agony for the enemy of the leaf, the enemy of life, the cheater of death, and the soulless monster who took his best friend. Orochimaru had to die. The pale snake just smiled in the face of untamed fury. Even though, powerful, life-ending, hate swirled around in the orange chakra erupting from the boy, he found it funny. Sakura shivered as the uncontrollable force caressed her skin. For a smart person, she watched as Kabuto did the stupidest thing she had ever seen in her life, and she was teammates with Naruto. He attacked the bubbling mass of anger, power, and hatred. The roar the demon released was so powerful that he sent the spy flying back the way he came and the bridge crumbled underneath such overwhelming raw power. The girl felt her feet leave the wooden structure only for her to come down hard, head first. Captain Yamato didn't like how the situation was spinning out of control. This was not how he operated a mission. He tried to save what was left of the bridge with his wood techniques, but it was a lost cause. He noticed his team's medic still on the falling structure and uncontentious. He watched as Naruto took off after the traitor of the leaf, as the pink-haired girl started to slip down the crumbling wood, stone, and wire, while Sai made a great bird of ink and took flight with it. Sakura fell to the abyss as the captain ordered for the artist to save her. The boy flew by her lifeless body without a second thought, he had his secret mission to attend to. The wood user slammed his hand down, sending a twisting beam after her. He stopped her downward descent as gently as possible, but the sudden halt against his hard wood would probably bruise the creamy-skinned girl, but it was a far better thing than death at a rocky bottom. Naruto didn't hear the words spoken by the man who taunted death, but he felt the smugness in the words about having stolen someone who held an important place in his heart. He moved weightless into the realm of the beast. In the cage he was captured and lost himself to the madness as the fourth tail burned its way out. His skin peeled away, unable to stand the concentration of toxic chakra any longer. Sakura came to, her body hurt. Quickly she fixed what she could while apologizing to her captain. She watched in awe as he created a wood clone and it went flying after a target she wasn't sure of. She didn't see her other two teammates. She took note of the destruction around her. She knew what had happened. Naruto had done it all, but the question still come out of her mouth. What happened? Naruto did this, answered the captain. He's on the other side, fighting Orochimaru. A hauntingly painful howl was all the warning the ninjas received before a massive explosion ripped through the trees. The wood clone protected himself with a wood rampart from the powerful force. The artist's ink bird of prey was turned to liquid by the blast. Naruto, you are just too much, hummed the real monster, enjoying his time toying with the destructive fox. As the dust cleared, a miniature demon fox with 4 tails whipping high into the blue sky stood in the newly created crater. Crap, growled the clone, seeing the number. The snarl from the boy taken over by the fox at the snake man sent chills down the spine of the artist. He had wanted to get closer, but the demon was keeping everyone at bay, intent on killing the source of his current pain. Snake after snake came spewing out of Orochimaru's mouth. With one swipe of his bloody claw, the innumerable nest of serpents was destroyed. The backlash was felt by the timber clone and the hiding artist. They watched from their different vantage points as the 4-tailed Naruto raised his arms skyward, then slammed them to the ground. The snake user moved quickly from his spot, narrowly avoiding the claws that came up from the earth. The retreating form of the snake master became a blur as he dodged the reaching tail hand of Naruto in his 4-tailed state. The pair of onlookers became awestruck by their displays of powers, tails, second bodies, cutting Orochimaru's body in half only for him to pull it back together with snakes. Their level was beyond what they expected. Sakura sat in silence, listening to the far-off cries of battle. Monsters were leaving their scars on the landscape. Don't worry, I was sent for a reason. The captain tried to comfort her, only giving him a slight nod that she heard him. I see, so either Sasori has been captured or is dead, Kabuto observed as he dusted himself off. He's dead, Sakura confirmed with no emotion. Excellent, smirked the spy. Another explosion drew everyone's attention back to the battle waging just out of sight. The medic of Team Kakashi didn't have time to worry about Naruto. He'd been pushed back to the side of the ruined bridge they were all on. As the dust cleared, she saw him, 4 tails, chakra ripping his body apart only to build it back together in rapid repetition. He's become more monster-like already. They're no longer ninja at this point, commented the white-haired medic ninja, an insane grin on his face. Sakura felt her body shake. She needed her Naruto back. The bratty kid who did things for her attention, the one who kept his ninja word, but not this way, not losing himself to the hatred to do it. Before she could think of what to do to help him, strong arms wrapped around her, sailing away from the blood of chaos. Another disturbance to the ground as a cloud of dust formed. A monstrous roar filled their ears. He doesn't even know who he is right now. It must be a pretty powerful drive to bring him to this madness. The offhanded remark of Kabuto bothered the girl. This was her fault. He made that promise and it drove him to insanity. An overwhelming sense of helplessness flooded her veins. She had to do something to purge it from her body. The dust hadn't even settled yet and she was moving. Desperation demanded she move faster. More words were spoken to her by the ninja around her, but she didn't hear them, just the hammering of her heart and the tortuous cries of the beast taking over her friend. Headlong into danger, she rushed to him, begging him to stop. He didn't need to go this far. She'd fix this. She'd fix everything. He just needed to come back to her. As he saw her approach, one of the venomous tails lashed out, striking her upper arm. Her scream of pain went unnoticed by the beast. He almost struck again but found himself ensnared by timbered bindings. She laid on the ground, a new experience of pain starting in her open wound, spreading like a wildfire through her system. Refusing to be healed as the blood didn't want to cooperate and stop flowing. She didn't hear the men converse, she didn't see how Captain Yamato brought Naruto out of this demonic state, and she didn't see their target vanish. All she saw was the blinding pain of her arm and heart. A broken promise. She had failed to catch up to him, to be useful to him. Forcing herself off the ground, she scrambled to him, his skin raw from the abuse of the tainted 9 tails chakra. Healing him through her own pain, she made him whole again little by painful little. It hurt to see him so slow to respond to her restoration of his tortured body. Can you teach me? Teach me how to stop this, she asked, choking back a sob. I wish I could, but only I can do this, answered the man who had been of use to her friend. He went on to explain the true reason he placed as the team's captain. Despite him just being a lab experiment, he was still useful at some things. The necklace around the tattered boy's neck responds to only to the wood user because he was forced to have the first Hokage's cells. At least you can really help him. All I do is these stupid small things for him, sniffled the girl. It's not what you do, it's the feelings behind what you do that counts. From what I've seen, I think you really love him or could if you let yourself, spoke the man. Naruto scares me, she confessed, still healing him. Don't let what happened today make you rethink your feelings, encouraged the captain. It's not the demon who frightens me. I made my peace with that years ago, confusing the man. It was supposed to be a secret. At first, I shied away, like a child, afraid of the monster under the surface, but I've grown to respect him. It's Naruto himself that I'm afraid of, because of what he could do to me if I lost him. If I let myself love him, I could fall harder for him than I ever did Sasuke. If he died chasing Sasuke or his dream of becoming Hokage, I wouldn't know how to go on, she explained. Sakura, moaned out the boy under her hands. Naruto, she breathed a sigh of relief. What are these tears for? He asked, reaching to wipe them away with his calloused hand. Idiot, she sniffled. Did that jerk Sai say something? Where is he? I'll kick his ass if he called you mean names again just because you're a little flatter than other girls, or was it your brutish strength he made fun of? Questioned the young boy. The angered Pinkette punched him in the chest, then looked at the older man. Where did that asshole take off to? She asked. Seems he's gone with the enemy, noted the captain. They moved across the gorge to inspect the damage done by Naruto, not that he knew it was him. Sakura lied to him about what happened there. To protect him, she lied. She didn't feel good about it, but she did it. There they discussed the possibilities of Sai having a side mission from the Warhawk Danzo, putting the leaf in grave danger. Sakura had no qualms about disposing of the pale artist. She had given the boy enough warnings, she wouldn't hold back next time. We need to hurry, ordered the wood-style user. Let's go, Naruto confirmed, only to fall face first in the dirt. Sakura went to him and gently pulled him into her lap. His breathing labored. Looks like we'll have to wait a bit, she stated, looking him over. We'll have to leave him behind. He can make it back to the village when he feels up to it, ordered the captain. Kakashi would never leave one of us behind, yelled the Rosette. I know how he would be, but I'm not him, countered the commander. I can't smile at you and tell you it's all going to work out. We're two different people. Believe me, I know that. I'm ninja, I'm not going to ask you to hold my hand and protect me. Kakashi may not be here, but I am his student, so I am going to smile and tell you I won't let you get hurt. I'll tell you another thing. I won't become scum and I'll send you right to hell before I take a step leaving Naruto in this condition. You want to follow those traitors so bad, hop to it. Team 7 will be along shortly, she spoke clearly, her green eyes locked on his, showing no sign of backing down. She had been weak, she'd watched helpless from the sidelines, now she was going to make up for it. Are you refusing a direct order? He questioned, more than a little surprised. I may not have special DNA injected in me by a psycho, any clan secrets at my disposal, or a monster caged inside me, but I'll tell you right now, if you want to go around with me, I will make the fucking price so high you'll wish you never stepped 1 foot out of the leaf with us, warned the disciple of the fifth. Stop making such a big deal. The boy moved off her lap. Let's go before you two kill each other. Naruto grinned, banishing the pain from his face. He loved it when she got intense, but right now was not the time. He'd push through this, for he'd find new power deep inside him. He didn't want her passion to get her into trouble, not for him. Even if it was their sensei who taught them how ninja should be, and it didn't matter if it was only due to Kakashi's teachings, he was glad she didn't abandon a comrade. They were moving through the forest, making good time when the young lady grabbed a branch with her injured arm. A cry of pain, and she was hurtling out of control to the unforgiving ground. Naruto tried to reach her before her sudden stop, but he wasn't in the best condition either. The captain she had threatened earlier saved her just in time. Yamato watched as she suffered because of the vicious chakra acting like a poison. He listened to her lie to the boy again, only for the boy to tell her to keep from danger. Her soft spot for the boy was admirable, but it was a hindrance for him. Guess we're taking that break. He saw her eyes tighten into a glare at him. We can't finish this mission without our medic, he reasoned, leaving her to work on the wound, while signaling Naruto to follow him. They moved off a ways, making sure they were out of earshot of the medic, Sakura lied to you, you hurt her. I am sure she did it to protect you, but who is going to protect her from you? He asked the boy who had slipped into shock. Sakura, he murmured, guilt filling him. It made sense, he and the pervy sage had had a similar thing happen during his training. You don't need his power, you can bring Sasuke back on your own without the use of the Nine Tails chakra. If you need help, lean on support that won't burn you or hurt those around you. I have the ability to suppress the Nine Tails, and I am going to be doing that from now on. It's not going to make you weak, it's going to show you exactly how much you don't need him, encouraged the man. What if you're wrong? What if he's all I got? Naruto wondered. I'm not wrong, not about this, answered Yamato, crossing his arms over his chest. Naruto nodded and moved back to the medic. She was struggling with the wound. He moved toward her. She had been so angry with him for hiding the truth, she didn't get to have double standards. He straddled her, blocking off her retreat as he leaned in close to her face, bracing himself with his hands on the tree over her shoulders. Who hurt you? His voice boomed out strong and resolved. I told you, she started, only to be halted by his eyes. Don't lie to me. Who hurt you? He asked again. Bastard, slipped out through her clenched teeth, Yamato had told him. We don't get to decide what truths we tell each other. You were so angry I didn't tell you something, then you lied to my face. How do you think I feel finding out from the captain who really hurt you? He moved his hand toward her arm only for her to wince before he even touched it, so he put his hand back on the tree. I did this. A tear slipped down his whiskered cheek as he spoke. This is why I didn't tell you. She choked up, wiping his tear away. It wasn't you. I didn't see you at all, she cried. His face fell. She'd finally seen the fox inside, brought forth in his moment of weakness. This time it wasn't just him she was lying to, she was lying to herself as well. She was refusing to believe he could hurt her. It was me, I lost control and you got hurt. It's not going to happen again, he promised, leaning his forehead to hers. I'm sorry, she whispered softly, moving so she could look deep into his crystal-like eyes. We're so busy trying to protect each other, we forget how much it hurts to be lied to. He kissed the side of her head. I forgive you, he spoke into her pink hair. Experimentally she moved her arm, the pain now a dull roar instead of a raging inferno. Noticing her tentative movement, he carefully placed his palm on the wound, trying to will the chakra back into his body where it would no longer harm her, but it was never that simple. She would be burdened for his impatience with trying to keep his promise. With his skin contacting hers, she felt her hands ache, but it wasn't a pain, it was a longing, a need to feel him under them. She knew her emotions were a raw, exposed bundle of nerves. They'd been through too much with this mission and it was far from over. Giving into the need, fingers traced over his cheeks, pulling his face to hers. Naruto, she breathed, teasing his lips with her own. Don't scare me like that again, she said as she pressed their mouths together. He could taste the need as more tears spilled over her cheeks. It was a mutual need, something about her calmed the storms of his heart. Even though she was foul-mouthed, hot-headed, and a pain in the ass most of the time, with her around he felt more at ease, like they could do anything as long as they were together. Yamato knew this broke the rules, but Sakura had already broken several, and he was sure Naruto somehow broke a few. He'd turn a blind eye on the teenagers for now. Sometimes it took a little rule-breaking to live with yourself after the mission. She held him by the collar of his black shirt, her flushed face so close he could feel the anger radiating off her skin. The artist knew he was a dead man if he spoke the wrong words to the enraged medic in this moment. Things happened to his body with her close proximity. He couldn't explain with words what she did to him. No one else had ever evoked this type of feeling before. Not even the dreaded Sasuke encounter was quite like what she drew out of him. Tell me again how you're a tool, nothing more than a weapon that he will dispose of when he's done with you. Explain to me how your life means nothing when you're lucky enough to have a beating heart. If you truly believe that bullshit, I will end it right here for you. Save you the trouble of dulling into something your precious Danzo can't use anymore, she threatened with her wild green eyes tearing into his once lifeless soul. Something about the duo from the original Team Kakashi spoke to the pale boy. It had started as a small nagging whisper that turned into a yelling demand that he could only explain as their fire. He saw the bright glow in their desires to retrieve their friend, protect their village, and stand by each other no matter what. There was something between them, a connection he didn't understand because he'd never experienced anything like it. Danzo and his group would never lay down their lives for the boy's sake. He found it fascinating knowing that whatever harm anyone did to the blonde the pinkette would repay to them tenfold, and whatever harm someone did to the pinkette the blonde would pay back 100-fold. I don't understand why you would go so far for a man who doesn't care about you anymore, and going up against Orochimaru again is suicide. Sai spoke to the trio after they had found him, escorted him out of the hideout, and bound him with wood. I don't give up on those who I've formed bonds with, they're important to me, explained a rather calm Naruto, and if Orochimaru gives us hell, we'll just keep going until we get through it and bring our friend home. Sakura was really proud of her friend in that moment as she let go of the bound boy, him thudding to the ground. She moved away from the captured boy to stand next to her friend. In the black pit of Sai's emotionless mind, a spark flickered. You may be fine with being a nameless tool, but you'll never be Hokage with that attitude, and neither will Danzo if he doesn't have the balls to come out of the shadows, smirked the sassy pinkette. Ninja belong in the shadows, Sai retorted in a dull manner, but the two of them had his heart bounding steady in his chest. He needed to understand them. You can stay in the shade, Sakura and I will be with the ones who are really living, with all our bonds forged with time, sweat, blood, and respect. Naruto countered, being brave and wrapping an arm around Sakura to pull her flush with him. A tender burn in her cheeks at the contact was all the reaction she could muster for the invasion of space. Yamato almost let out a humph. He had yet to see these teens show respect that wasn't brought about by fear. That only worked on Naruto. The dangerous girl seemed to like his attempts of ruling with that trick, paying little heed to it. As he was about to make a clone when a shower of kunai from the heavens sent all the ninja, except the one encased in wood, flying away from the deadly rain. Seems you were captured. I take this as a good sign I can trust you, for now, spoke the cunning Kabuto as he sliced through the bindings with his hand wrapped in chakra. I don't know how to hold back, warned the blonde, if you two stand in my way I will be less than forgiving. A pair of clones descended on the medic, a ball of chakra forming between the two. Aiming for the intruder only to be kicked away. A smug look on the older ninja as he pushed his glasses back in place. Predictable, scolded the white-haired man. We're just getting started, grinned the blonde, popping his knuckles. As usual, you misunderstand my meaning. People evolve. Things don't stay the same no matter how much you want them to. Even your dear Sasuke is no longer the person you once knew, Kabuto gloated, knowing that was the boy's weakness. How many times do I have to tell you to shut your fucking mouth? Maybe I should make it so the damn thing doesn't work anymore, Sakura pondered as she adjusted the black gloves over her slender hands. I was going to be merciful and kill you, but I think now I shall make you one of my experiments. Or better yet, a lecherous grin filled his face. I have been contemplating making an heir, he taunted. Naruto went to move to teach him a lesson on how to speak to the girl he loved, but Sakura stopped him with her hand. I don't like little pricks. She smiled her fake smile. Is that your way of saying you like big S? Commented the enemy medic. He had no other reason than to taunt her. You shouldn't talk about things you've never seen, she shot back. Naruto was blindsided. He had no idea she could talk like that. He had heard her could spew cusses with the best of them and she was quick with the comebacks, but this was a new level that left him tongue-tied and blushing. Like a good ninja tool, Sai used Sakura's distracting words as his moment to move unnoticed by all until he captured the Rouge medic. Surprised words filled his ears from both parties. Are you angry I decided to evolve? You yourself criticized him for his lack of change. Now I want to see for myself what has changed and what has held fast with the bond Naruto speaks so highly of, Sai informed both sides. Why the change of heart? Sakura asked, still slightly suspicious. I want to understand, maybe if I see these bonds I will be able to comprehend something about myself, something I couldn't let go, explained the artist. Yamato worked fast to bind the four-eyed medic with his wood style and create a clone to babysit the troublesome ninja. They moved back into the hideout. Splitting up into two groups, Sai and Naruto started their search while Sakura and Yamato covered other ground. Searching room to room was starting to take its toll on them as they kept coming up empty-handed. There was also an element of danger with running into the Snake Man again was a high possibility. Naruto wasn't totally recovered from their last encounter. When Blue-Eyed Boy tripped and fell, Sai encouraged him to sit for a spell. There were thoughts of arguing running down Naruto's mind, but he didn't want to waste the energy. You remind me of someone that was close to me at one time. We weren't blood but we were brothers, kind of like you and Sasuke, I guess. He died of an illness, it's a shame, he was going to be a great ninja one day, Sai said as he smiled, a true smile, at Naruto. Well, Sai, whose side will you be taking, now that I found you here? A silky voice broke in their moment. Both boys turned wide-eyed to see Orochimaru standing there. They got to their feet quickly only to be knocked back by the man's arm turned into a large snake. I see you wish to side with the losing team, grinned the vile man. Go find Sasuke, I'll take care of this, Naruto growled out the order. You're in no shape to stand against him, Sai countered with reason, something the compulsive boy didn't speak. Do it now, yelled the blue-eyed blonde. I do so under extreme protest, but I shall rescue your friend, Sai replied as he ran down the hallway. Why do you pests have to be so persistent? Can't you see how this turns out? I will always win because his heart is as black as mine, taunted the former Leaf Ninja. Shut up and be defeated, then I'm taking Sasuke back, stated the determined boy as he built up all the chakra he could muster to summon his comrades to his aid. His efforts left him panting and tired. What a letdown, sighed the black-haired man with golden snake eyes. I see you found the serpent, Yamato commented as he appeared by the lethargic boy along with the medic. I'm going to let you all live for now, in hopes that you make yourself useful and kill more members bearing the red clouds. But for now, I shall deal with that other boy, spat out the snake man as he vanished. Where is he? Where is Sai? Questioned the captain. Looking for Sasuke, we need to catch up before Orochimaru finds him, worried Naruto. Their leader picked up the pale boy's bag. Noticing a black book he pulled it out to examine it. He suspected it was like his own bingo book. Sure enough it was with several high-class ninja crossed out of them. Finding Sasuke on one of the pages made the seasoned veteran realized what the fair-skinned ninja's true purpose on the mission was, kill Sasuke. He filled in his companions on how Sai had again pulled the wool over their eyes. Despite Naruto's fatigue, he produced an impressive amount of clones to help search for the other two boys. As they were frantically searching, the ground beneath their feet began to shake. The trio raced to where the tremor originated from. They rounded a corner to find a blinding light compared to the soft light of the candles that neatly lined the walls. Sakura broke away from the group first, ready to kill Sai one more time for his betrayal of Naruto's trust. Again she found herself gripping his shirt collar, ready to strike without even asking him what he was doing. But a voice of the past froze her on the spot. It was a little different, deeper, colder, and lacking any kind of human emotion. She felt old emotions come charging back. When she looked to see him standing there, looking down on them, her breath caught in her throat. She didn't want to be this girl anymore, the love-struck idiot who would follow him to the ends of the world. She couldn't help but notice the years had been kind to him. Looks wise, but the look on his face made her realize he didn't care she was there searching for him. He didn't acknowledge her at all, not as a friend, a foe, a challenge, or even a person. She shoved Sai away a step. Hello, Sasuke, she glared, venom burning into his name like acid. She had been so focused on the one undervaluing her that she didn't notice the one who thought the world of her was at her side. She heard Naruto whisper their friend's name in shock and happiness. Sakura knew he was too pure to see the contempt for them on the raven-haired boy's face. Does this mean everyone is here? Sasuke sighed as he heard footsteps. I'm sorry to disappoint, but I am not Kakashi, stated their captain as he came from the shadows, eyeing Sakura as he said it. She gave him a sly smirk. We're here to take you home. I see you've already found me a replacement, he gestured to Sai. He's as pathetic as the rest of you. Talking about bonds, such useless sentiment. I broke every bond I had back in the Leaf and created the only one that matters to me, power for my revenge. You all don't fit into that bond, Sasuke replied, devaluing their worth right to their faces. I warned you, Sasuke, I was going to bring you back. You should have killed me back then if you didn't want me coming after you. As long as there is breath in my lungs I am going to come after you. Naruto declared, standing as firm as he could, gathering all his strength. I don't need to explain things that you'd never understand, we'll just say I spared you on a whim, nothing more. He moved fast, draping an arm lazily over his shoulder and placing himself to Naruto's side so he could speak softly by his ear. I think I recall your dream was to be the Hokage. I think I shall snuff out that dream. Just another one of my whims, smirked a cold and heartless Sasuke. A man who can't even save one friend doesn't deserve such a rank, Naruto stated as he watched Sasuke pull his sword from its sheath. The movement slow and teasing at first until his sword whipped fast, but before he could truly sever the bond, there was someone standing in his way. His replacement blocked him from the killing blow. Just because you moved correctly doesn't mean you're worthy of replacing me, Sasuke noted to the black-haired boy. If you're so worried about being replaced, maybe you shouldn't have left. The Rosette finally found her voice. She watched as Naruto went sailing into the air, while Yamato attacked with his wood style from his hand. Horror filled her green eyes as all three men were jolted by Chidori coming out of the Uchiha's whole body. Sai and Naruto seemed down for the count as she remembered one of her many promises, this time she would help. His eyes were going to be a problem, but she would do what she could. She charged him when he took a step in Naruto's direction. He saw her movement and readied his sword. Yamato moved in between them and tried to block with a kunai, but the sword sliced the smaller blade and sunk into the man's shoulder and pinning him to a rock with it. Poor choice, noted Sasuke, like he was teaching a lesson. His focus returned to Naruto. He could see the blue sky and the blonde's eyes was gone, drenched blood red instead. Sakura moved again. Sasuke merely raised a brow at her as she launched herself at him ready to strike. He didn't see anything impressive about her. She waited until there was no possible way to avoid the strike before she sent all the chakra she could muster into her tight fist. It wasn't her strongest hit, but it sent him flying away from the injured captain. Crazy bitch, he spat out with some blood. You say that like it's a bad thing, she chuckled, goading him to deal with her and leave Naruto alone. Naruto didn't see them. He was busy being tempted by the demon in a room he didn't want to be in again. It was dark, dank, and muggy. The fox's snarls filled the air with his presence of hot burning hate. This time was different from the first. This time the fox was bubbling out of the bars that were supposed to keep him at bay. The boy was on his guard, ready for the sneaky fox to try something. Let's show him how dangerous we are, purred the tempter. Tell me who you want to break, tell me who you want dead. You don't get to come out and play anymore, I'm done with you, Naruto declared, filling his voice with his resolve to bring his lost friend home on his own strength and never putting Sakura in harm's way again. The demon laughed. Don't forget who it was that came to me and demanded my power. Never again, vowed the boy. Both were surprised to find another person in their midst. The fox recognized the red eyes looking back at him. He knew that clan all too well. Now I see, so this is what was in here all this time. I understand the past a little more clearly, remarked the intruder as he pushed the beast back behind the bars of his cage. Uchiha, don't do anything you'll regret. If you kill Naruto. The beast's words faded as they were brought back to what was left of the room full of rubble. Yamato took a chance while the boy seemed to be distracted to try and imprison him with one of his wood techniques. Thick beams sprang out of the earth and sealed together in a dome. Sasuke simply busted through the roof to stand on the ledge again. Don't you see, all you are is the next body for that snake. Naruto screamed at his friend and rival. You are the one who doesn't see, Naruto, you're still so foolish. I have given my life over to revenge. As long as that is accomplished, it doesn't matter what happens to me. I gave up my life with Team 7, with the leaf, and I will give up this one and the next. Unlike you, I know how to reach my goals, belittled the child drenched by the darkness of his own heart. Naruto, Sakura, I think that's enough chatter, it's time to get serious, don't you think? Their captain questioned them. Fuck yeah, grinned the wild cherry blossom, popping her knuckles. I see time still hasn't molded you into any kind of lady, harassed the Uchiha, his cold, dead eyes set on her. Fuck you, she yelled at him and flipping him off like an immature child. Another time I might have taken you up on that offer, he replied simply to see her reaction. Her cheeks became uncomfortably hot. She tried to will the blush from her face, but it seemed to only make it worse. If you are all going to be crude, the actions I am going to take won't seem so bad as I end this, Yamato butted in. I grow weary of you all, so I will be the one to end this poor excuse for a team, spoke the target as he raised his hand over his head after making a hand sign. Let's not play that game, said the snake that grabbed the deranged boy's arm, stopping whatever move he had planned. Release me, growled the boy being restrained. Sasuke, I would try to reason with you but your arrogance refuses to listen to me, chided Kabuto as he walked up to the duo. I have no reason to let them live, Sasuke quickly rebuked. Kabuto pushed his glasses up. They've already killed Sasori, we want them to kill more. Sasuke snorted his disbelieving. "Come on down here, Sasuke. I'll show you just how I did it." Sakura boldly taunted, lowering herself into a fighting stance, trying to keep them from retreating. Another snort from the dark boy. He didn't believe she could kill anyone. He decided that they were not worth his time, and so would spare them. The dark trio vanished with a wisp of smoke, replacing where their bodies once stood. Naruto felt so powerless, having failed again to keep his promise. He felt like the weight of the world was on his shoulders, pushing down into the dust where he belonged. Sobs wrecked his body as he emptied all his emotions into his tears that fell to the ruined floor. "It's pointless to cry," the girl sniffed through her own tears. "We still have each other, Naruto. We're going to get stronger together, then we'll show that jerk what he missed out on. So, no more crying. We've got a little time left, and if you'll have me, I'd like to help," Sai informed them, bringing smiles to the others' faces as they dried their tears. "Thanks guys," Naruto smiled. "Let's go home." Once back safe behind the walls of the village, they reported to the fifth. She sat rather quiet during the report. She didn't even break up the small disagreement between Naruto and Sai. Once they were all done with their tale, she had one question for them. What did they plan to do? "You know we don't know how to give up," yelled Naruto, his blue orbs filled with determination. "Yes, I am well aware of that," smiled the older woman, "and I already have a mission for you. We'd like to keep Sai on the team, if it's alright with you." "Hokage-sama," Sakura requested respectfully. "I'll allow it, for now," the Lady Hokage agreed to her request. Sakura busied herself trying to figure out ways to help Naruto and herself get stronger. But research would only get her so far, but she felt at home in the library. She did some of her best thinking there. She noticed one of her newest teammates sitting at a table poring over some books. "I see, artistic and an avid reader. Get you some glasses and you could be a real nerd," she teased as she sat across from him. He was surprised she was so free with him, but he guessed that was just the way she was with people. She noticed his books, all on how to interact with others. At least they were a good start, but there were things you couldn't learn in books. "I guess you could say that," he mused, wondering if glasses would help him with his people problem. "Hey, Naruto and I are going to see Kakashi in the hospital. Want to come meet him?" "You are on his team after all," she reasoned. He was worried about meeting the man. He'd heard a lot about the half-masked man. Slowly, he agreed to accompany them. They found Naruto sitting on some steps looking rather gloomy. He looked less downtrodden when he heard Sakura call his name, but then he saw Sai was with her and couldn't keep the glare from his face. "Ah Sakura, why did you bring him? I thought we could go on a date," he whined as he stood up. "You have too much time on your hands if you're sitting around thinking. You should be practicing your skills, or do some studying," she teased. "Right, studying, sounds like a blast," he rolled his eyes. "It wouldn't hurt you to put something in this thing on your shoulders you call a head," she picked on him, poking him in the temple. "I'll show you how I use my other," he began, but her glare told him he would die if he finished that offer. "I'm not sure you have enough smarts to properly use either of them," she taunted, crossing her arms over the book she was holding to her chest. "Would you guys mind if I gave you nicknames?" Sai broke in. "It's just one of the books said nicknames would help us bond as friends." "I don't care, just try not to be too vulgar," Naruto snorted as he put his hands behind his head. "And remember, turnabout at fair play. You nickname me wrong and I'll give you one just as bad," warned the girl, but she had a feeling he wouldn't care whatever she called him. "So if I call you ugly?" he questioned. His answer was a smack with her fist to his face, and Naruto got 1-2 for laughing. "Maybe it should be crazy bitch," groaned Sai as he rubbed his poor cheek. "I can live with that," she smiled through her glare. "Let's go before I somehow end up in the hospital bed next to Kakashi," Naruto encouraged. Sakura led the way as the boys trailed her like scolded puppies. Naruto knew he was going to get hit for laughing, but he couldn't help it. The look on her face had been hilarious. "I was wondering when you guys would bring the new guy around. Welcome, Sai," Kakashi nodded. "Thank you very much," Sai said as he rubbed his still bruising cheek. The boy's condition of being battered did not go unnoticed by the experienced ninja. He motioned Sakura closer to him. He knew Naruto was a hothead, and sometimes that got him in trouble. So he sought the girl's side of the story. "Oh, don't worry about that, we were just having a friendly debate over nicknames," she answered while glaring daggers at Sai. "I'm glad to hear it," their sensei said as his attention went back to his book. About the mission, Naruto paused to gather his words. Yamato already told me, broke in the white-haired man. He's gotten too strong, Naruto worried. Then we'll just have to fix that by becoming stronger, much stronger, very quickly since we don't have a lot of time left, noted the man still engrossed in his book. And how do you plan on us doing that? Questioned his female student full of skepticism. Do you think I've been lazy while stuck in here? He questioned her. Honestly? She pondered with a playful gleam in her eye. He ignored her taunts and continued. The method I thought up is best suited for someone with Naruto's skill sets. No surprise there, griped the girl. Kakashi ignored her again. For now, you may even surpass me when you're done with this training. Naruto was thrilled with the prospect of becoming stronger than a man he held so much respect for as a ninja. His teacher was taking too long explaining things. He wanted to know exactly what the older ninja had in mind. But before he could fire off any of his questions, the room was intruded by Asuma and his team barging in loudly. The room became a loud hum of excited conversations going on simultaneously. The adults kicked the teenagers out so they could discuss things. Upset about not learning what kind of training his teacher had in mind, he moved the slowest to the restaurant the teens had been sent to. Sakura noticed his slow pace and fell back with him. Cheer up, at least he has a plan for you, she grumbled as she nudged him. I know, I just want to get started, the sooner the better, Naruto thought out loud as he stared at the street. Sakura moved and blocked his path. He almost ran into her. I'm not moving until I see you smile, she declared. She hated to see a gloomy Naruto, it was unnatural. He saw the group get further away from them, his brow raised above his mischievous blue eyes. His hands moved, one to her waist and the other to the back of her neck, both pulling her to him. I'll smile if I can kiss you, he whispered, enjoying the closeness of their bodies. He could hear the turbulent beatings of her heart. If you'll smile, she began but stopped when a devious grin spread across his face at her blushing form. You smiled, she blurted out. Her courage abandoned her and on unsteady legs she tried to free herself of his gentle grip only to be more tightly encased by him. Keep your end of the bargain, he breathed, pulling her face closer to him. She felt herself shake in anticipation and nervousness. The other times it had been on her terms, now he was the one instigating the kiss. His familiar scent filled her nostrils and made her dizzy. Her knees buckled but his arm already around her tightened, keeping her from falling to the ground. As his mouth made contact with hers, green eyes closed in bliss, she decided sometimes it was alright to let someone take your breath away. Naruto felt like he'd been training for forever with Kakashi and Yamato. It was really ingenious the regiment his sensei came up with, using shadow clones in a way only he could. The teachers were happy with his progress so far, but he seemed to be at a standstill. He had decided to go for a walk since they were done for the day, even though it was only early afternoon. Poor Captain Yamato was at his limit and it was weighing heavy on the blonde's mind that it was his fault for not being able to keep the Nine Tails' venomous chakra under control. He'd been so deep in thought he didn't notice he had wandered into someone's training field. In the middle of an open grassy spot was his pink-haired medic laying on the ground. At first he was excited to tell her about his training, about how well it had been going up until now. But as his eyes drank in her form, her condition became more clear. The rapid rise and fall of her chest, the dirt and disorder of her clothing, and her beautiful appendages covered in scratches and bruises. Without thinking, he rushed to her, but as he reached her, her long toned legs sprung like a trap around him. Her hand that had been occupied healing her upper arm grabbed his jacket collar, pulling him down. The other hand, with a readied weapon, dove for his neck. Only to stop short of taking his life by a hair's breadth. Naruto? She questioned cautiously, scanning the area. Are you insane? He yelled. Anger had found its way into his voice. Here, he had been really concerned about her and she attacked him, nearly fatally injuring him. The hand gripping his coat released him and the tight muscles in her legs became slack. She made no movement to get out of their intimate position, only returned to healing her arm of the deep gash that had begun to bleed again from her sudden assault on the boy. What are you doing here? She asked, ignoring his earlier inquiry altogether. I was taking a break from training, he answered, still staring at her like she was crazy. I see, well, I am doing that too, she remarked, still focused on the open wound on her body. What are you doing out here? He inquired, looking around field, empty of all life except them. Not all of us have the luxury of training with their teacher, she huffed, so I am making do. Making do? But before he could finish, her hands were grabbing his jacket and flipping them over so she was straddling him. Several dark kunai dotted the ground they had been resting on. "Break's over, little bitch," came the voice of their other teammate. Easy Limpy was just having a chat with Naruto. She smiled down at the blonde, her hands splayed over his chest, taking some of her weight off his hips. "Limpy?" Naruto repeated with a raised brow, a little worried where this was heading. Sai moved into his view. "Seems my nickname has even earned a nickname. I take it as a sign our bond has become fairly stable." He smiled, one of his rare true smile. The poor blonde felt conflicted. He wanted to be happy Sai was forming bonds, but he didn't want the two of them to form a bond stronger than the one he had with his Sakura. Despite the fact that Sai's nickname was appallingly mean, he still felt sad that Sai had a nickname from their female teammate while he didn't. Of course, he had never given one to Sakura either. "Back to work," the maiden announced as she playfully pushed off his chest to stand. He watched as she stood over him, rolling her shoulder and arm, testing how it felt after the healing she administered to it. Naruto got to his feet, a small glare at Sai for injuring the medic. "I think I figured out your nickname, Naruto." Sai's smile had faded and he was staring at the blonde intently. "I'm going to call you Jelly," he declared, pointing a finger at him. "What?" questioned Naruto. He didn't understand it. "I have picked up hints of jealousy from you, if my understandings of my books are correct. And I'm sure there is only soft jiggly stuff between your legs," taunted the dark-haired boy as his finger moved to point below the other boy's belt. "Damn it, Sai!" yelled an angry teenager ready to smack the fair-skinned boy into next week. Sakura started laughing uncontrollably. It rang out across the open field. It took her a moment to calm down. Wiping away a tear, she finally spoke. "You can hit me for laughing if you want, but the look on your face was priceless." Naruto entertained the idea of striking her for a second, but he knew he would feel bad. Instead, he just crossed his arms over his chest and pouted, his bottom lip sticking out like a spoiled child who didn't get his way. "I hate it," he growled about the new nickname. "Idiot," she mumbled, "you don't have to like it. Do you think I enjoy crazy bitch or any of the other forms of the name he uses?" The whiskered ninja smiled to himself. He did have a nickname from her. It had always been there, so he didn't realize its creation. They were securely bonded, bound together by the devious weaving of fate. He let his cocky grin rid his face of the protruding lip and flash his bright blue eyes at the forest held deep in the orbs of the woman he loved. "If anyone is jelly, it's you. I'm training with Kakashi and you're stuck with Sai," he taunted her, knowing fully he may incite her wrath. "Like I said, I'm making do. Lady Tsunade has been helping me advance my medical while Sai is helping me with my speed." She held up a hand and balled her fingers into a tight fist. "No point in having all this power if it doesn't hit the target," she mused to herself more than the boy. "Want to try it out on me? I want to see if you've improved," smiled the teasing blonde. "No, you have your own special training, shouldn't you be getting back to that?" she growled as she crossed her arms over her chest. Instead of trying to provoke her into a spar with his words, the blonde took a fighting stance. Out of the corner of her eye she saw him coming for her. He was going half speed, giving her plenty of time to block. "You still seem pretty slow," he taunted with an aggravating grin etched on his face just for her. "You really want a piece of me?" she snarled, moving her chakra, preparing to strike the male at any given moment. "No, I want the whole damn thing," he yelled, swinging his other fist at her, slamming into her vulnerable ribs. Her feet skidded through the dirt from the assault, but the attacker failed to harm her bones. She could take a hit from the Hokage. Compared to that monster strength, this was child's play. Sakura sprung away from the boy, dodging an ink beast. "Do not think I will stand by and watch," stated the dark-haired boy who felt an unfamiliar sensation of being left out. Naruto jumped away from the black ink lion thing. While in mid-air he summoned an impressive amount of shadow clones. "I got something for you too," announced the unpredictable ninja, as several clones went after the artist. "Don't you dare think you can beat me with all these fakes," warned the pinkhead as she caused a large multitude of Naruto copies to vanish into pale smoke by disturbing the ground beneath them with a chakra-infused punch to the earth. It surprised the angry girl as the original came flying out of the thick dust, throwing punches and kicks. The young blonde could tell she had improved, but he still felt she could do better. Sai had never fought Naruto when he was being serious. He was overwhelmed at first by the sheer number of the clones. Sakura, on the other hand, had dealt with them long enough to know their weaknesses as well as the summoners. Hurtling herself at him, she knocked the boy to the ground. Once on top of him, her war cry sounded pierced the open area, "I will end this." The next morning Naruto woke up a little sore. He should not have provoked the pinkette, but using logic was still a foreign concept for the boy. "Good morning," came the sound of his teacher. Naruto grunted in response as he stretched his tired muscles. "I thought you'd be more energetic this morning with us quitting so early yesterday," remarked the white-haired ninja. "I ended up picking a fight with Sakura," confessed the student in a low voice. "How did that go?" inquired the teacher with a chuckle. "Captain Yamato broke up our fun when I had her right where I wanted her," the young ninja boasted. "If her straddling you, ready to deliver a life-threatening blow, is right where you wanted her, we need to have a talk about these self-destructive feelings you've been experiencing," came Yamato's calm voice from behind him. The boy cringed under the implication. "I was about to make my move." He tried to defend, glancing at his captains, but both older men looked anything but convinced by the teenager's words. "If you have enough time to make up stories, then I'm not working you hard enough. Time to step it up, Yamato." Kakashi taunted with a good nature. Naruto didn't get another chance to wonder after that. He wanted to check on his team's medic, but he knew he had to put her out of his mind for a while and focus. Kakashi stayed true to his word and became a slave driver to Yamato. Unbeknownst to the focused blonde, a little pinkette had been watching over his progress. Every day she made a special trip out to his training ground to see what he was up to. Several times Sai had caught her watching their teammate in his training. "Come here often?" came Sai's drone voice. "Careful, that sounds like a pickup line. I'd hate to think you were trying to hit on me," she taunted, not sparing him even a harmless glacé. "I'd hate that too," he admitted, but it sounded worse than how he meant it. "Ass," hissed between her teeth, but she had become accepting of his odd ways and blunt words. "All those Naruto clones, is this like a dream come true for you?" He tried to tease her in good spirits. "You should have seen him in the waterfall." She spoke to herself without thinking about how her company would construe it. "Was it like a wet dream come true then?" he asked innocently enough with his flat tone. The rosette closed her eyes, letting a little huff of air pass her lips. The socially awkward idiot didn't realize what he was asking. They weren't due to train for another hour, so she sat at the base of a tree to read and watch Naruto's progress. Sai just stood there, watching her as she turned the pages of her book, only glancing up when Naruto or one of his clones yelled out in excitement. "What are you reading?" Sai broke the silence between them. "It's a romance adventure," she answered. "Is it like Kakashi's book?" inquired the boy, wondering if she had developed her sensei's taste in literature. "Way better than those books," she grinned at the white pages covered in black ink before her. A sudden outburst had their attention back on the training field. Naruto was scrambling away from their teacher with a horrified look on his face, while Kakashi was approaching him with a non-threatening gesture, trying to reassure the frantic boy he meant no harm. "They're just screwing around," growled the girl as her novel snapped shut. Standing, she was reading to storm off and prepare for her own training with the ever-stoic Sai. Begrudged to admit it, even to herself, the quiet ninja had helped her skills and speed a lot. Before the typhoon could devastate anything, another ninja entering the clearing stopped her in her tracks. They all heard the words the newcomer spoke with such remorse, but Sakura's mind refused to comprehend them. They were just words, empty, void of all meaning, but so powerful they stole the very breath from her lungs. Someone was gone, forever from their lives. While she hadn't been the closest Asuma, hearing he was gone brought so many things crashing down around her. From that moment, things spun by in a blur. A funeral, honoring a fallen soldier, a comrade, a lover, a teacher, and most of all a person who could never be replaced. It threw things out of perspective and shed light on things she rather let sit in the dark. What were they fighting for? What if it was her sensei, and how would she cope? She watched as Naruto comforted a crying child, a boy that already lost so much family and had to say goodbye to another leaf from his family tree. Too many pieces of the strong foliage plucked from their lives too soon. As the days tried to return to normal, medical training with her master, watching Naruto as he attacked his task with renewed determination to perfect the unfinished work of the fourth, and her endless sparring with Sai, a sudden thought struck her. Knowing exactly what she would seek if it was her sensei who was struck down on a mission. Sakura found herself climbing in Ino's bedroom window without thought. What the hell, Sakura? Ino snarled, not even bothering with the nickname the Pink Cat had become so accustomed to. Seeing how her best friend and rival took in her appearance in her ninja gear, she knew she was caught. Don't try and. Good luck. Sakura interrupted as she leaned against the window's edge with her arms folded across her ribs, holding herself together only because she didn't know if Ino would want her embrace. What? The platinum blonde asked in confusion. I wanted to wish you luck and tell you to come back safely, Sakura replied, looking out the window, trying not to picture another funeral. You're not going to try and stop me? Ino questioned, unsure if she should be grateful or hurt. I don't know if the Hokage herself could even stop Naruto and I if it were our sensei they killed, confessed the longtime rival with a sad smile. Thanks, a small whisper slipped out of the emotions threatening to smother the girl of Team 10. Even though she understood, she still worried her friends weren't enough to take down the monsters responsible for their comrade's death. Needing to hear the thoughts of her own teacher, she set out to find comfort in the safety of her team. There, on the training grounds, she found them broken and bleeding, but Kakashi never looked prouder of his student than he did right then, clutching a mangled arm to his chest. Without words, the medic set to work healing and bandaging the bloody appendage. They are going to avenge him, she murmured, not need to explain who she meant as she adjusted the white cotton wrapping. His one eye took in her face, he could see her worry as plain as the sky on a cloudless day. Why don't you go with them? He wondered out loud. I didn't think it was my place. I wasn't sure I knew him well enough to seek vengeance for him, she answered, securing the bandage. If you're here, you can worry about Naruto for the both of us while I go and watch over Asuma's cute little students. Naruto doesn't seem to need me right now, and I think I knew Asuma well enough to claim vengeance for the both of us. Kakashi spoke thoughtfully, taking in the emotions that shined through with ease in her open soul. Thank you, I'm ashamed to say I didn't know what to tell Ino except good luck, his student said with regret in her voice. You didn't have to say anything, you can just be there for her when she is ready to talk, he remarked, flexing the mummified hand as he stood. You know, I'm here for you too, when you're ready to talk. I know you've lost a lot and I'm here. There was a pleading in her voice as she looked up to him with bright green eyes. Would she still look at him like that if she knew his past? If he let her in, would that trust that he saw now ever find its way back into those jade eyes? He'd always boasted that he'd protect them, all of them, but who was he to make such prideful promises? Yes, he had lost much, but was it right to burden them with his pains? His sweet little students, who would watch over them if he were killed? Naruto would fling himself headlong after whoever was responsible for his death, and Sakura would follow close behind. Had the roles been reversed, he knew Asuma would watch over his precious students no matter how reckless they were. All he could offer her was a nod and an assignment to report to the Hokage on her knuckle-headed teammate's progress before he vanished. Sakura knew she was being selfish, wanting to be there to protect Ino and wanting to stay by Naruto's side. She wanted to be Kakashi's someone to lean on, and she wanted to lean on him. She wanted to fight and wanted the pain and insecurities to vanish. Not that vengeance would heal everyone's wounds, but she didn't know what else to seek to fill the gaps in everyone's hearts by the loss of someone close. Looking at Naruto, he was already absorbed in his training, unfazed by whatever attack their teacher had stuck him with. Feeling like she had no right to disturb him, she headed to the Hokage's office. Loss was as intimate to her master as a lover, having stolen so much from her already. After giving Kakashi's assessment of Naruto's progress, the young medic didn't wait for the Lady Tsunade to speak. With our sensei joining Team 10, will that mean you are sending Team 7 as reinforcements? We would work well together, assumed the student of the 5th. A small smile of pride pulled at the slug princess's lips as she spoke. Tell Yamato, Naruto has a deadline of 24 hours before I send a different team. I'm sure that will properly motivate your teammate to finish it. Back to her teammates she raced with new purpose. She had thought about the whole situation wrong and again had to make amends for her selfish actions. As she landed on the edge of a sizable crater created by Naruto's new jutsu, he gave her a weak smile as he panted. He was already working so hard, and a stab of guilt hit her heart as she was about to add to it. I'm sorry to burden you again. A look of bewilderment crossed his features, but she continued. Lady Tsunade says you have 24 hours to finish your training, or she is sending another team as backup for Team 10 and Kakashi. They have already left and are searching for the men who killed Asuma. I need to be on the squad that goes after them. I thought I didn't know Asuma enough to avenge him. But after talking with Ino and Kakashi, I know it doesn't matter how well I knew him. He is still a comrade and I can still help my friends claim the justice they need to help ease the pain. It won't erase it, but if I can't help them heal at all, then it's my duty to be there for them. She poured her heart out to them. Naruto's smile gained strength as she spoke. Seeing her resolve hardened his own. He'd finish it in time. He'd finish it for her, for their friends, but most importantly for himself. With a thumbs up and a goofy grin, he guaranteed the completion of the new jutsu. They didn't need words. He could see the relief in her jade-like eyes, but another emotion lurked just beyond it. Burden. She was always feeling like a burden. Granny Tsunade put the time limit, not her, yet he could tell she felt selfish for asking this of him. Don't worry, I got this. His confidence spoke as he made the hand sign to summon more shadow clones. Sigh, we have our own work to do, barked the medic looking behind him. Surprise knocked Naruto on his butt when he suddenly looked to see the artist calmly taking all of them in. Sakura couldn't help but roll her eyes. It was a good thing the idiot was as strong as he was, because he really lacked the common sense to scan his surroundings. Dashing off, she left him to finish his work. She only had a small idea at how difficult his task was because of insights from their teacher. When had she learned to put all her faith in him? Her mind could not pinpoint a specific epiphany where she came to the conclusion she could put all her trust in him. Over time he had just proven himself to her. Once again he was raising the bar and she could only hope to graze it if she leapt for it. Here they were again, Team Kakashi, racing together, ready to fight for their own. Why was trouble always surrounding them? Maybe it was just their fate as ninja. Are we late? Naruto's question came after his new technique saved most of Ten's team, save the shadow user. An annoyed sidelong glance marred the features of the pink-haired team member. Of course, they weren't late. After everyone expressed their relief at the arrival of the reinforcements, Naruto finally noticed, "Where's Shikamaru? We need to send him back up," and a medic, Kakashi worried as he summoned a small dog. "Sai and Sakura, I leave him in your care. Follow Pakun and work together," the wood-style user ordered as he remembered their less than graceful start as teammates. "Yes, Captain," came their strong joint reply. "Naruto, I'm leaving them in your care," Sakura added before her new cell took off after the leader of Team 10. She had noted the condition of her comrades. None had life-threatening damage, but they were a little worse for wear. "Is his jutsu complete?" Kakashi asked, trying not to let his feet waver under him. He was far more damaged than he wanted the others to know. "I'd estimate it at about halfway, give or take," Yamato answered reluctantly. "So that's how it is." The white-haired man worried, having fought valiantly against the powerful foe before them, but he knew he would be little help now that he was on the verge of collapse. "We can let him handle this. He's not the boy you once knew." Confidence radiated from the captain's words. The wounded man clung to that assurance as he watched his young student move forward. Sometimes you had to stand on faith alone.